us and jump in and kind of get themselves ready and settled down. It's been so long, actually, since we did a watch-along. I don't have the countdown clock lined up, which is a little bit of a problem. Normally, that's not an issue, but I think for a watch-along, it's going to be a big help because people obviously aren't going to be able to all join at the very start, and so they might be a little bit lost as to where they are, where we are. Like, they might want to catch up, or they might want to watch a certain part again, or something like that. So, yeah, it literally just dawned on me. As I was sat here, I was like, oh, I could really do with a countdown kind of clock so that people know exactly where we are with the show. So, I am just, I was thinking, like, shall I set that up and like have you lot wait in a little bit? But I was like, nah, we'll go live and I'll just set it up whilst I'm chatting away to you. So I hope everyone is well. Hope everyone is excited and looking forward to Money in the Bank this weekend. It's obviously coming up. There we go. Look, I've got one ready to go. Let's move this over here. Let me try and edit it and see if I can take down some of the size. It's just a little bit too big. That's what she said. I have no idea how much to actually take off here. That'll do. So yeah, I hope everyone is excited for Money in the Bank. Don't forget, Money in the Bank is going to be on this channel this weekend. So if you are wanting to join the watch along, it will be on this channel. How much does that affect? Oh, okay. Okay. It's a bit smaller. Too small. Yeah, so if you want to join the watch along, it's going to be on this channel. So hopefully there's going to be a good amount of people that join us for that. It's a lot of excitement out there. And I think there's hopefully a bit of excitement for today's stream as well, because today's stream is all about the 2016 event. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, why are we doing 2016? But in actual fact, 2016 is regarded as one of the better shows. It is regarded as a really good show. You also get a good moment during the show, so let's leave that where it is in case no one's seen it. As well as that, the channel, the Wrestling Days channel, that actually started in 2016. So this is one that, to my knowledge, I've never sat down and actually watched, like, on stream. I've never done a watch-along for it. So, yeah, this is one that I'm looking forward to. Do you know what? I can't even remember doing, like, the review for it, or I can't remember talking about it, but I'm sure there will be stuff on the Wrestling Days channel for it, for the 2016 version. But, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, actually. I'm really looking forward to going back to this one, because this is definitely one that I'm interested in. This is definitely one that I would love to, you know, sit down and rewatch, hence why we're doing it. And kind of relive those moments from the early days of the channel. The early days of Wrestling Days. Before we were doing watch-alongs, what we were doing then was focusing a lot more on figure videos, toy hunt videos, and we were just doing, like, kind of sit-down reviews and previews, but we weren't doing watch-alongs. I had a full-time job at the time, so it wasn't possible for me to even watch the shows live a lot of the time. A lot of the time I was having to, thankfully, because of the network, sit down and watch it, like, the next day. And so I wasn't even always able to watch it live. Sometimes I could watch it live, but because where I was living at the time, which was in Southampton, I had, like, flats all around me. So there was no way that I was going to be able to do live watch-alongs and make any kind of noise, because I had neighbours there, probably neighbours there. I had, like, I was surrounded by people and surrounded by neighbours. So, yeah, it was a bit tricky, to be honest. So never going to be able to do watch-alongs in that kind of environment. But we were doing review videos. We were doing prediction videos. I'm sure there's all of that on the Wrestling Days channel. But as I said, to actually sit down and watch this show, I probably haven't seen it since it happened in 2016. And I kind of like that. We're going right the way back to what was going on in wrestling and what was happening in wrestling when the Wrestling Days channel first started. So Yeah, okay, we are not too far away. If you are just joining us, I am literally just chatting away whilst I set up this, which is taking forever, by the way, to kind of edit this down. I don't know why it's taken so long to, like, get it the size I need. But it is. This seems to be, like, one of the biggest problems I've ever faced in my life, to actually get this down to a reasonable size. But, yeah, hopefully people have found it on the network and are ready to go. I've got this down to a size that's manageable, and so I think we can get going. I will just keep messing with it, to be honest. I can keep messing around with it down there. So, if people are ready, I will jump in the chat, by the way. I'm not ignoring the chat. I just want to make sure that we're all good to go, because as soon as we get going, then we can chat away, can't we? But this is a 3-hour, 23 minutes show. It's June 19th. 2016. We're in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. There's just over 14,000 people in attendance, and this is, I believe, the 7th Money in the Bank event. That's what Wikipedia said. So the 7th Money in the Bank event. So if you're ready to go then, and you've got your found it on the network, 2016 Money in the Bank, we will get going in 3, 2, 1. Boom. We're up and running. Okay. So, we've just got the intro at the moment. Pinging out the text. The tweet to let people know that we are live. So, there we go. Then, now, forever. Viva Las Vegas has popped up on screen. And we're underway with the intro. This is going to be... I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, 6 years ago this was now. We've got a good little video package. Just looking at Las Vegas at the moment. Just showing us the casinos, of course. As we said, we're in the T-Mobile Arena. I'm not sure when that opened, but probably wasn't around that long before we actually did this show. I've got a feeling that it was around the kind of that time that the T-Mobile opened. Vegas is vicious, and we're seeing John Moxley, we're seeing Chris Jericho, we're seeing Alberto Del Rio. I can't remember who's in it. John Cena versus AJ Styles. I mean, What a series of matches that was. So, Roman Reigns taking on Seth Rollins as well for the WWE Championship. So, that's our kind of main event tonight. Seth Rollins against Roman Reigns. I believe Roman is going to come in as champion because I think Seth was injured. And so he ended up surrendering the title, if I'm remembering correct. But Cesaro, do you know what? It's going to be fun, actually, to see how many of these are in AEW now. Because I can see Cesaro, I can see Jericho, I can see Moxley. Straight away, there's 3 that are in AEW right now. I might have a look, actually. Oh, I'm doing too many things, aren't I? I'm doing too many things. I still need to edit down this countdown clock thing, and I need to jump into the chat. Big shout out to everyone that's joining us. We're still in the intro stage, a couple of minutes into this watch along. We will be talking about whatever you want to talk about. I understand there'll be plenty of people out there that aren't really bothered about watching the 2016 Money in the Bank, but they just want to chat about whatever. We can absolutely do that, and that's not a problem. I don't think I've seen this one. Only clips, says Ricky. I can't remember it, but as I said earlier, I definitely would have covered it over on the Wrestling Days channel. You know, we would have been doing maybe even like an instant reaction. I was doing some of those at the time where I was watching them, and as soon as the show was over, I was kind of putting little videos up of me just talking about what I saw, what I thought, what I liked. You know, just the general normal stuff that, you know, everyone else does. And I remember those videos, man. Those videos were getting about 20 views. It's crazy. like where the channel is now compared to where it is. So, you know, if you are someone that makes YouTube videos and you're just struggling for an audience, just know that we've all been there. I, for quite a long time, was making videos. I think there's a fair few that are still on the Wrestling Days channel. If you go back to old videos, if you go, you know, you can search by when they were published. If you do that and look at the old videos, there's probably some that are still, like, double digits. Probably some that are still, like, you know, I don't know, 70 views or something like that. Only 70 people will have seen them or something. Hey, look, we've got Enzo. We're going to kick things off with Enzo and Big Cass. Enzo and Big Cass making their way out. My name is Enzo Amore. These two, they were so over. Enzo was good, man. He was good. The only problem was his shtick kind of got a little bit stale. And when they split them apart, because, like, they end up splitting them and Big Cass goes, like, solo, like, Enzo struggles then. He stopped being fun, to be honest. When he went into that cruiserweight division, he kind of stopped being fun. And then I seem to recall there was a few, like, controversies as well. I seem to recall there was a few things that sort of, I don't know, all of a sudden he didn't seem like this fun, lovable character anymore. But here, like, you know, when he's the mouthpiece for this tag team, he was cool. You seem like a different person back in those days. You pulled off a sarcastic, confident swagger these days. I don't think you had in your old videos. No, in my old videos, I was really... Another lesson for you if you are starting out on YouTube. Know that we all struggle. And we all struggle to kind of, you know... Oh, hello. Find an audience and find our voices. I've always been, I mean, like, the person that you see is the person that I am, but when I first started, I don't know, I felt like I needed to be, like, professional. I felt like I needed to be straight-laced and, hi, my name is Wrestling Days. And I felt like I had to do that. Don't know, no one told me I had to do that. I just felt like I had to do that. I felt like I had to be professional. And that would, you know... I think it's because when you're sharing your opinions on something, you want people to kind of take what you're saying, even if they don't agree. You want them to at least listen. Like, and it kind of feels like if you're going to goof around, people aren't going to listen to you, are they? They're probably not going to listen to you, and if they do listen to you, they're probably not going to respect what you say, even if they disagree. Probably not going to take on board what you say. So all of that kind of played into it at the start. Whereas, like, you know, as time goes by, you just sort of stop caring. And that's where I am now. Don't give a flip. You soon realise that you can have opinions and they can be listened to. Nothing changes. It doesn't matter. That's what you learn. When you first start on YouTube, you want people to hear you, and then when they do, you learn it makes no difference whatsoever, and you go, oh, okay. Oh, I love these guys, the Vaudevillains. I loved these. The Vaudevillains. They worked really well in NXT. They didn't play as well on the main roster. Simon Gotch, man, I mean, he looks great. This, I mean, how up my street is this? Look at this. From like the 1900s, the Vaudevillains in black and white. Look at them outfits as well. Those outfits are sick. Those outfits look great. Such a fun concept of, like, what would it be like if you put in some people from the 1900s in there right now? I'm amazed that Vince didn't have them, like, riding around on penny farthings in the background and all that kind of stuff, you know? In, like, behind the scenes. I think you could have done a lot with the Vaudevillains. Aiden English obviously ended up leaving them, and then, like, eventually the whole Rusev Day thing. And he was, like, the mouthpiece for that. This is, you know, what he was doing before Rusev Day. But I loved him. I remember I watched... There's a picture somewhere, and I don't know where. It's probably on an old phone. But before I did the Wrestling Days channel, I watched NXT with my then partner, and I remember I dressed up as the Vaudevillains. I had, like, a little moustache, and I curled it. Out like that, slicked my hair over to the sides, and I think put like a black and white filter on. I can't remember what I wore. I didn't like go full haul. I didn't like wear a singlet or anything, but black and white. Got the old curly moustache on the go, slicked the hair over to the side. Vaudevillains. Loved the man. I really did. Somehow I didn't remember, you know, Gallows and Anderson have just come out. I did not remember that they were in WWE at this time. Something in my head tells me they joined later than this. So I was quite surprised to see them come out. Aiden English, the Drama King, is a commentator now in Impact. Oh. Nice. Edward, very good. I hope it helped. Vince is going to be the mystery Money in the Bank person for this year, says Mr. Meme. I was thinking, if you're such a big international megastar, which I am, confirmed, why don't you have a blue tick on Twitter? Because I've not asked for one. I could easily get one if I wanted, but not bothered. I like to stay down with you people. Do you know what I mean? Because if I get a blue tick, then everyone's going to be like, "Oh, you've left us. You've changed. Do you know what I mean?" And I don't want that. I want to at least give the illusion that I'm still, you know, a regular person. When in actual fact, I'm like a megastar now. I'm basically Lady Gaga. I'm the Lady Gaga of the wrestling watch-along world. So, but I don't need a blue tick to know that. New Day have come out, by the way. So we are going to be starting with a Fatal 4-Way Tag Match. Fatal 4... Kofi says that Enzo runs his mouth, but it's Big Cass that does all the work. Full on Bootios here. I mean, we've got the Bootios t-shirt. They've got the old penny belts as well. You know, the old tag belt that's like bronze coloured. We don't know whether we should be fighting the Vaudevillains or collect $200 when we pass go. So, New Day verbally laying into their opponents at the start of the show here. Any thoughts of the new WWE sign-ins of Logan and Valerie? No, to be honest. I mean, Valerie I don't know anything about because she's in Bellator. And, I mean, if she was that good, she would have got to UFC. I mean, getting to Bellator is still good, and she's legit. I mean, I always like people joining that have got, like, some kind of a fighting background. I understand that you can get, like, football players and, you know, they've got a good size to them, and, you know, you put the work in at the performance center, and it'll take time, but, I mean, you can get somewhere eventually. But, no, I mean, personally, I prefer people coming in that have got, like, a wrestling background or a boxing background or a judo background or an MMA background or some, you know, some kind of background. Even if it's, like, an indie wrestling background, I mean, that's the best. if they've been on the indie scene and they've put in the miles, I mean, you know, these are the people that have grown up as kids that have dreamed of being a pro wrestler, and, you know, they're the ones that you would imagine want it more than anyone else. So I like the fact that she's come in from MMA, and I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what she can do. The Logan signing, actually, same thing. I know he's a celebrity. I know that a lot of people are probably expecting that I'm going to hate on it, but he has gone, I think, was it 8-10 rounds against Floyd Mayweather. He's had, like, I know it was an exhibition, but he's been in there with Floyd, and he trained hard to get ready for that, and he looked all right in that fight. I mean, I'm sure Floyd, if he had gone through the gears, could have put him away, but they ended up going the distance, and I thought that it wasn't an embarrassing showing at all. Obviously, as well as that, he's had a couple of like YouTube boxing fights as well. But I think more than that, you just know that he's been training boxing for a long time. Like, I think he like spars with Jake, and you know, he's got himself into great physical shape. So this isn't a guy that's like a YouTuber that's coming into WWE who just, do you know what I mean? It's just a YouTuber who just sits around doing prank videos or whatever, or does a podcast or whatever. Basically, if he was me, I would be horrified. But he's not. He's someone that's, you know, had boxing contests and has been in there with Floyd Mayweather. I mean, that's pretty damn cool. And has, you know, had other boxing contests as well. And then on top of all of that, he, I think, was quite decorated in, like, high school with amateur wrestling. So he's got like an amateur wrestling background. It's something that's really important to me, that when these people come in, I need to know that they've had that kind of training and that they carry a threat. You know, I look at Logan, and you know, if you put Logan in there with Dominic, who do you think's going to win that match? Because I'd feel pretty good that Logan would get the victory. If you put Logan in there with Ricochet, like, and legit, we just made them fight, I would be thinking that Logan would stand a chance. So Logan actually comes across to me as being someone that's competitive and someone that I think could go in there and actually, you know, hold his own. If he's going to be coming in and beating the likes of Roman and beating the likes of Gunther, then no, that's horrific. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard. But I said on Twitter, I don't mind it because I think he's got a good following. I think that he's got a semi-decent background. It's not amazing, but, you know, it's passable. It's passable. And, you know, do you know what he's not? He's not Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny, who to my knowledge has got no fighting background, no wrestling background. I don't care if he had wrestling training for a month before WrestleMania or whatever. I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing. So, like, Bad Bunny, who's famous for being a singer, coming in and having a match and hitting Canadian destroyers is just, it's like, I think it's one of the levels of hell in Dante's Inferno. It's awful. It's just awful. Logan Paul's not that, so I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I see why they're doing it. But there's levels to this game, and if he's going to go on and flipping win the WWE title, or beat Gunther for the IC title, or, do you know what I mean? Anything stupid like that, I'll be amongst the first to lay into it. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about all of that. But that's the big news today, isn't it? Logan, if as you're watching this, Logan has signed with WWE. Don't know how long for. It might just be that one match, but because it looks like he'll be facing The Miz at SummerSlam. We've got loads of people getting clothesline to the outside. It leaves Enzo and Big Cass in the ring with Big E and Kofi. So they're all in the ring together. Vaudevillains on the outside. Gallows and Anderson on the outside. And we are underway with these two teams brawling away at each other. When we look back on past WWE shows, it's fascinating to see how many people were great in NXT but didn't cut it, like Vaudevillains and Enzo and Cass. To be honest, I think they could. I think what a good chunk of it comes down to is the Vince. I mean, it's as simple as that. I think if Vince saw the Vaudevillains and believed, well, first of all, if he believed in tag team wrestling, I think some of these teams would have done. I mean, look at this, right? You've got Enzo and Cass, failed on the main roster. You got Gallows and Anderson, failed on the main roster. You got the Vaudevillains, failed on the main roster. The only team in this match that actually succeeded was the New Day. And, you know, they obviously were struggling a little bit at the start. New Day sucks and all of that. And eventually they managed to get them to get over with the crowd and had the whole Bootios thing. And, you know, once they actually invested in them and actually gave them something to work with, and they had the unicorn horns, and you've got Xavier with his trombone, and do you know what I mean? Like, they were getting multiple segments on Raw, and I mean, here they've just come out and they've just been cutting promos on all the other teams. You know, if you actually invest in them, they can get somewhere. They can shift some merch for you. It's very, very limited as to who gets that kind of investment, and a lot of tag teams just don't get that kind of investment, and that's down to Vince. I mean, Vince just doesn't really care for tag team wrestling, and not only that, I think that he probably looks at a lot of these teams and thinks, like, just not really bothered by the Vaudevillains. They haven't really got much size to them. I don't look at them and find them impressive. I mean, God, FTR struggled on the main roster. FTR, the Revival. I mean, everyone's been talking about that because FTR are killing it in AEW. And so a lot of people are like, oh, do you remember when they were on the main roster and they were shaving each other's backs in the showers? And that is true. That is a story they had them do. The Usos kind of snuck round the corner and caught them shaving each other's backs in the showers. They were doing that. That's how they filled TV time with the Revival. Whereas over on AEW, they just have them in like killer matches. So it's like, yeah. I think there's a reason as to why these teams struggle on the main roster, and it's called Vince McMahon. But down in NXT, they kill it, man. I mean, the Vaudevillains were like, they weren't crazy popular in NXT, but they were over. People liked them. I really liked them in NXT, and they were featuring on like takeovers and things like that. Enzo and Big Cass were like amongst the biggest stars in NXT. They were so popular. Enzo in particular. I mean, if you've got charisma and you can talk, I mean, that's part of the battle, innit? I just think that backstage he was a bit, I don't know, backstage there was a few problems. I think I heard something about he got kicked out of the locker room. Don't know. I think he might have like overstepped the mark with the other boys, and I think there was some backstage dramas. It just didn't work out in the end, but Big E goes up over the top by Big Cass. I'm sure Vince probably saw something in Big Cass, but certainly at this time, he just didn't. He didn't have it. He could move well though. I mean, look, honestly, looking at Big Cass here and looking at him like going against the ropes and just delivering a big boot, then you kind of look at what Big Cass is doing here and you think, God, this is so far beyond what you're getting out of Amos and so far beyond what you're getting out of Shanky. I mean, Big Cass here, like over 7 foot tall, is showing what a big guy can do. Luke Gallows pulling Enzo out of the ring. Big Cass charging over, collides into Gallows. Big Cass going hard into the ring post, and there's no lights on the ring posts here. This is just back when the ring posts were ring posts. How insane! How insane! Look, kids, look. That's why they're called ring posts, because that's exactly what they are. They're not covered in LED screens and all of this kind of stuff. It was a different world back in 2016. It was a completely different world. Really like this New Day ring gear as well. It's really brightly coloured. It is like a rainbow threw up on them, but it looks really good. Vaudevillains in there at the moment. Simon Gotch, who doesn't wear knee pads, and that always bothered me. 1, 2. I was always worried that he was going to mess up his knees, because it's just weird seeing someone not wearing knee pads. But, Big E. Big E as well. No knee pads on him either. There must have been like an anti-knee pad movement back in 2016. But there was a great way that Simon Gotch managed to not mess up his knees, and that was by getting released. So, his knees are fine. I loved Enzo. He was my favourite in 2016, says Aaron. He was super over, man. Super, super over. It was fun as well. Really, really fun. He had some great lines. Little bit Max Cast-story. You know how Max Cast comes down and like spits some stuff, and you look forward to seeing what he's gonna say. That was a little bit like Enzo. I would say Max Caster does a better job of bringing in like current things that happen in pop culture and whatever. He keeps it fresh. He keeps it witty. I think he does it maybe a little better than Enzo did, but right now we've got Big Cass, Big Boot. Gallows goes to the outside. Good work by New Day. Aiden English is down. It's a weird finish. It's a weird finish to this match. So New Day win. They double team Carl Anderson. He ends up rolling out the ring, and so they end up pinning Aiden English, who'd been lying there for quite a while anyway. You would think that when you hit your finishing move on someone, that's the person you end up pinning. No. No. That's not how it works. We're going to hit our finishing move on that guy, but we're actually, and no one's going to see this coming, we're going to pin that guy. So, there we go. New Day, get the win. Not a bad little match, that. That was all right. Big Cass hits a good big boot, says Austin. James said, Wrestling Observer has reported that Jeff Hardy has pleaded not guilty to the DUI charge. Oh. That's a wild development, isn't it? Is he going to make out that video as a lookalike or something? Was you driving under the influence? No. Are you sure? Yeah. We've got video. Ah, damn it. Can I change my plea? I've changed my mind. Turns out I might have been a little bit under the influence. Can I have a little bit under the influence? Can I have driving maybe under the... Can I have a DMUI? Here's Tom Phillips. Here's Kevin Owens. Tonight is your first Money in the Bank. I realise you're still new here. He looks so much bigger than Tom Phillips. I always liked him, you know. I always thought he was good. Bottled water is bad, says William. That's breaking news. I'm surprised Enzo and Cass never held tag team gold. Here's Jericho. Oh my God. Forbidden Door guy. The Forbidden Door's been busted. AEW superstar. And I'm not going to get tired of saying this. I can't believe there's an AEW superstar on this show. Jericho says he is the spotlight. He is the shining ray of light. He is the genius that created. That's true, actually. Money in the Bank is his idea. Kevin Owens says, you've never actually won a Money in the Bank ladder match, though, have you? And you won't win tonight. I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to beat everyone else, and I'm going to get that contract. It's really fun seeing these two on screen again. So good together. Alberto Del Rio? Are you going to speak some Spanish? Oh, he has. And he is speaking Spanish, yes. He's tall, isn't he, Del Rio? Look at him. He's towering over Jericho. Towering over... Is he on stilts? Why is Del Rio so big? I don't remember Del Rio being that big. Del Rio's like up here and Jericho's like here. Same with Kevin Owens as well. Look at Tom Phillips in comparison to Del Rio. What's this? Are we sure that's that? Is that not the Great Khali? I don't even know what's happening with this promo now. Kevin Owens is like, have you got a dog at home? I don't see any dogs, says Jericho. All I see is a pair of idiots. So we've got quite a long promo here as we're building towards that Money in the Bank match that's coming up later. Got a few undercard matches to get through first. Drink it in, man. Drink it in, man. The Wizard on fine form. Owens walks away. Del Rio walks away. Jericho stands. There's a stupid idiot. There we go. I can imagine The Rock confronting Roman and saying, you're the head of the table. Well, I built the table, says Harry. Harley said, according to Ryan, the rumors are that Logan's contract is multi-year. He will apparently be doing multiple TV appearances and multiple matches this year and next year. James said, Tom Phillips is also on Impact. Oh, here's Baron Corbin. With hair. Baron Corbin. I want to hear his old music. Do you remember this? Do you know what? It'd be good, actually, if he revisited this gimmick. The Lone Wolf gimmick. And he brought back this music. I'd be down for seeing that. Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin was such a strange person. I mean, like, I can't believe he's been on the roster for as long as what he has, to be honest. I mean, here he is back in 2016. He can't have been on the main roster for long at this point. He never felt like a massive star in NXT to me. He was on takeovers, but he was never NXT champion. I can't even remember if he ever competed for the NXT championship. Here's Dolph Ziggler. But they've always just found stuff for him to do, haven't they? Are you a fan of Sean O'Malley? If so, do you see him beating Pedro Munoz and eventually winning the world title? I am a fan of Sean O'Malley. I do think that he's probably got limitations, though. I don't think that he's like the perfect fighter or unbeatable or anything like this. I mean, obviously, it wasn't that long ago we saw him taking on Chris Matinho, who was just a local guy that they managed to get in for a match. And even though he smacked him repeatedly, he just could not put him away. So, I think that Sugar Sean O'Malley is exciting. He's definitely someone that I think they want. UFC absolutely want him to get to a title match. I think they're trying to do whatever they can to help him achieve that. But he's not, I don't know that when he gets there, if he'll win the title. I don't know that he'll ever get like a title reign, but I think UFC would love for him to do that, and love for him to get there, and love for him to be champion. He's very marketable. Brightly coloured hair, social media presence. He's got a YouTube channel, I think, which does quite well. He is absolutely someone they would love as champion, but don't know. Got to walk the walk, ain't you? I think he'll get title matches. I can see him being in the conversation, but I don't know. I don't know if he'll ever actually get the belt. There's many great fighters that have fallen short, have managed to get into that top 10, but have not managed to get the title. It looked like for the longest time, it looked like Bisping would be one. I mean, how great is Bisping, Michael Bisping? But it wasn't until Bisping thought that he was going to be done. I think, doesn't he beat Anderson Silva in London? And it's like the highlight of his career, and he's, not sure what's next for him, but he wasn't expecting a title match. And then I think the planned title match fell through. He gets a last-minute call, like, can you make this title match? You beat Anderson recently. Can you come in and do this? It's against someone he'd lost to. And he was like, yeah, let's give it a go. And he said, like, he just didn't have time to really think about anything. And he goes in and he wins. And he becomes champ. But he was super close to, potentially not even getting a title shot again. And never being champion. So, I don't know. It's certainly not guaranteed that he'll go on to win the title. But I think UFC would love to see him do that. Corbin with his hair dangling down. It's weird seeing him like not in a shirt as well. He doesn't have the best physique. Three-time Golden Glove boxer, says Austin. Clay said, what's up? I think Bayley will be back at Money in the Bank this weekend. What are your thoughts? She could be. I can't say that I think that she will be. I think there's a good chance that she could. I was just looking at the new figures that Mattel have shown off, and they had a John Cena figure, unsurprisingly, which I was looking and I was like, what show is this attire from? And I looked into it, and it's from when he returned. And he actually returned, and, slipped my mind. He returned at Money in the Bank last year, which had slipped my mind. I don't know why. In my mind, he'd returned on a SmackDown. I remember him returning and confronting Roman, but I couldn't remember what show it happened on. But it was Money in the Bank. So, there is a precedent for there being, big returns, decent-sized moments for Money in the Bank. We saw one just last year with John Cena. So the only thing is, I just don't know where she is with her recovery. And we've been down this road quite a few times of like, I'm sure she'll be at WrestleMania, or I'm sure she'll be at Hell in a Cell, or I'm sure she'll be at the Raw after WrestleMania, or whatever. I just got to the point now where I'm just, I'll believe it when I see it. I just really don't know when she's coming back. But I think there is a very good chance of it, yes. I think there's no reason why... I can't give you a reason as to why they wouldn't do it if she's ready. But is she ready? There's been no updates or anything on her. It's been a bit quiet. Everything's been a bit quiet. Baron Corbin is in control if you are just joining us. This is match number 2 We had a tag team fatal 4-way that was won by the New Day. We then got a backstage promo featuring Kevin Owens, Alberto Del Rio, and Chris Jericho. And now we've got Corbin and Ziggler. Obviously, still to come, we've got the Money in the Bank ladder match. We've also got the main event, which is Roman Reigns taking on Seth Rollins. This is face Roman, heel Seth. Obviously a very different time, 2016. So don't go expecting the tribal chief. There'll be no acknowledging, I can tell you that much. I like Dolph's ring gear here, by the way. Black with like blue, kind of Shawn Michaels pattern down the side, and then it's got like skulls on it. Looks kind of cool. It's like blue zebra print. Quick strikes coming in. Headbutt by Zolf as Corbin goes back in the corner. Corbin charging over, gets hit with a back elbow. Duck underneath by Dolph. Clothesline. Corbin goes down and again. Corbin going over to the corner. Splash by Dolph looking for a neck breaker, and he gets it. So, neck breaker by Dolph here. Just seeing, we just saw Jesus and his mom. That was a close-up of Jesus and his mom there, standing and applauding. He has got another name, and I can't remember. I don't know what his other name is. I think I just saw Green Shirt Guy as well. Not in the middle of the front row, but actually over at the side. So this is one of those rare pay-per-views where Green Shirt Guy wasn't able to get front middle row tickets. And that is probably what we will remember this show for the most. Is that Green Shirt Guy was there, but not in his usual spot. Dolph goes down. Crowd not really feeling this one. What's your favourite for wrestling? What year is your favourite for wrestling? Does one stand out to you? It's a good question. I would say my favourite year for wrestling would be... I want to say 92. I'll probably go 92. Mainly because that was the year that I got into it. 93 is the first full year. But the end of 92, I mean, the first show I ever remember seeing is Survivor Series 92. And I speak about that quite a bit, where you've got, like, Kamala versus Undertaker, Big Boss Man versus Nails, and loads of, really, it's a really weird Survivor Series. I don't actually know. I can't remember if there's even a traditional Survivor Series match on it. I feel like there might be one, maybe. But I remember the front cover of the videotape was all about, like, Ric Flair, Razor Ramon, Macho Man, and Mr. Perfect, because it was meant to be the Ultimate Maniacs. It was meant to be Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man versus, I think, Razor and Ric Flair. Or maybe Perfect Ric Flair. But they had to change that because Warrior ended up going. And so they had to change it. And so it ended up becoming Perfect and Macho Man versus Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, 5 years before the screw job, which is pretty cool. Undertaker, Kamala in a casket match, which when you're a kid is pretty cool. Big Boss Man versus Nails, nightstick on a pole match. Pretty cool. There's some really good stuff, actually. But anyway, that year, because we get SummerSlam 92 with Bulldog, Bret in the UK. Amazing. We get arguably the greatest Royal Rumble as well with Royal Rumble 92. So we get that. You've got the likes of Warrior, you've got Flair, you've got Hogan. You've just Bret, Shawn, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake Roberts. I mean, it's all the big names that you would want around at the same time. You get the best Royal Rumble. WrestleMania 8 is not bad. I would say it's one of the best WrestleManias. I would put it right up there. I wouldn't say it's like 17 or anything like that. It's not 17. It's not 19. It's not 30. I mean, there's plenty more better WrestleManias, but 8 is still a really strong one. Still really strong. I mean, Macho Man against Ric Flair is, a amazing. Bret Hart against Roddy Piper is amazing. There's some really, really good matches on there. And I just like the feel of it. 8 feels big. Feels big. Return of the Ultimate Warrior as well. You forget how big that was with Warrior coming back. Like, it kind of loses its impact now, but Warrior returning at WrestleMania 8. I think the problem is that you don't really get anything that follows it. Warrior comes back and, like, nothing really happens, to be honest. Like, it's disappointing, that run, when he returns. It's disappointing. I think people were hoping he was going to go back to the title and all that kind of stuff. And he does have a title match at SummerSlam, but of course he doesn't win the title there. And then, you know, after that he ends up going. But I've got a real soft spot for 92. I just think you've got a lot of big hitters in around that time. Shoulder up. And as I've just said, like back then, you had 4 pay-per-views and that was it. And every pay-per-view delivered that year. So you've got Royal Rumble, the best Rumble. You got WrestleMania 8, which I think is quite strong. You've got SummerSlam 92, which was in the UK and is, you know, main evented by Bulldog Bret Hart. And then you've got Survivor Series, which is super special to me. Super special to me because of it being the show that got me into wrestling. But, like, there's loads of other stuff as well. I mean, you've got the first ever ladder match, which is Bret and Shawn, which took place on, like, I don't know, I think it was like Wrestling Challenge or Superstars that year. You've also got Bret beating Ric Flair at a house... No, it wasn't a house... Well, it was kind of a house show, but it was a Coliseum home video exclusive. So, just weird stuff like that. And obviously, this is all setting up, like, Raw. Raw starts in January of 93. So we're sort of like got Wrestling Challenge, Superstars, things like that. We're just on the verge of Raw. We're just pre-Raw. And, you know, Raw would change everything. So, yeah, that's the first year that comes to mind. It's the first year that comes to mind. I think if you go into the 80s... I feel like you're probably lacking, like, some of the pay-per-views. You don't get many pay-per-views. By the time you get into, like, the 90s, you're starting to get, like, 4. Once you get to, like, the mid-90s, I think, like, it really loses its way. And 95 is pretty awful. I sort of feel like 96, 97 are really good years, though. I'm not the biggest Attitude Era fan, so I'm not bothered by the Attitude Era. Ruthless Aggression's pretty good. There's definitely some years there that would be in the run-in. You know, you think about something like 2003, 2002. That, you know, even WrestleMania 17 was 01. So that kind of 01, 02, 03, I think they're really solid. I don't think there's anything recently that stands a chance, to be honest. I think Pandemic was awful. 2020, 2021... burn them. There's nothing there which there's no fond memories really. There was some all right stuff. I'm sure if we dug into it we could find some all right stuff, but overall as the years go, I think they were really poor. I seem to remember 2019 quite often saying the only good thing on the shows was the Firefly Funhouse. So I've got a feeling even 2019 was not great. Baron Corbin has got the win. Would you like to see Dolph get another push, or do you think his time is done and more of a jobber? I'd like to see him move up the card again. I think his time is done. I think you could give him a push maybe to a mid-card title, but I can't see him being a world champion. If he is, it might be as a thank you for your service type thing. I mean, they kind of gave Miz like a little run, you know? So if they were to do it, then it might be as a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a thank you. I can't see them putting a belt on him as a thank you. I could see them putting a mid-card belt on him as a thank you. They sort of did that to Zack Ryder. Do you remember when Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental title at, was it WrestleMania 32? And then dropped it the very next night? That kind of felt like a thank you. That kind of felt like thanks for your service type thing. Right, here's Charlotte and Dana. Charlotte and Dana when they were... you see, even Dana's been around a long time. She's been on the main roster now for quite a while. Here's her with Charlotte. Dun, dun, dun. This is match number 3. I actually don't know what match this is. I never looked to see what the matches actually were. Charlotte's got her, like, sparkly jewels on the side of her face as well. Natalya. Oh, Dana dressed up as Ric Flair as she comes out to provide a distraction. That would be fun for a video. If someone wanted to do a video of times wrestlers impersonated other wrestlers, like there's one. There's one where Dana came out dressed as Ric Flair. That was Extreme Rules, apparently. Charlotte, then, I'm guessing, is going to be taking on Natalya here. Oh, no, Becky. Becky's music's hit. Becky Lynch, when she was in her steampunk phase. There she is, look. Before she was the man. Becky Lynch. Right, I don't even know what we're getting. Is this going to be Becky versus Charlotte? Oh, it's not a bad match, is it at all? I'll take this all day long. There's Green Shirt Guy, look, in the corner. Oh, is this a tag match? I don't even know what I'm getting. I'm guessing it's a tag match. Natalya's coming out. Oh, it's like Charlotte versus Becky. I'm down for that. Charlotte and Dana versus Becky and Natalya. Well, this has got Raw written all over it. Why are we doing this here now? Could have done this on Raw. Could have had Charlotte Becky instead. Look at Dana. Dana making fun of Becky. Right. When you look back at the NXT tag teams like American Alpha, FTR, Enzo and Cass, Vaudevillains, Ascension, AOP, Heavy Machinery, it's crazy. Street Profits are the only team that Vince genuinely likes. Yep. Not sure why, to be honest. I mean, I don't think they're any better than American Alpha. I think maybe it's something to do with the cups. As stupid as it sounds, it might be to do with the cups. It might just be that Vince likes the cups raining down from the sky. And, likes that as an entrance. And maybe he likes Montez Ford's Frog Splash. And, you know, they're pretty good talkers. I will give them that. You know, they did actually... Do you remember when they were doing that little news segment? They only did it a couple of weeks. But they had a little segment where they were, like, doing, like, news in wrestling. And they did it a couple of weeks on Raw. Like, they can talk. So, I reckon they got a few things like that. And they're probably really nice behind the scenes, I'd imagine. They strike me as being, like, genuinely what you need. We'll get that done type people, you know. They don't strike me as, like, problematic. And that, I think, was probably, you know, part of the problem with Enzo. I think he was a bit problematic behind the scenes. Right, we are underway with Natalya and Becky working together. As Dana and Charlotte are on the outside. Natalya and Becky are baseball slides. As Charlotte and Dana go down. Becky shouting straight fire out to the crowds. That was a phase. We all go through phases. That was a phase she went through. Straight fire. Tag in comes Natalya. I absolutely never understood the steampunk thing. Never understood it. Didn't have a flipping clue why she kept doing that. That kind of steampunk vibe. I don't even remember steampunk being a thing. I mean, I remember hearing of it and hearing like what it was about, but I never actually saw anyone that engaged in it. I'm glad she left that behind. Didn't Cena screw at this pay-per-view? Well, let's watch and see. Isn't it weird the swear words are just words and an arrangement of letters man-made that have the power to upset others? Yes. Jacob said, I think 2016 was a pretty good year. You had the AJ debut. Seth returns from injury. They brought the brand split back. Cena-Styles rivalry. The Universal title was a thing. And Brock Goldberg. Yeah, I think this time actually was quite exciting because I think you had a lot of, I think NXT had really found its kind of groove by this point, certainly, but actually a few years earlier. So if you think the network starts in 2014 and people are watching NXT, so I think this kind of time for me is really exciting because we're seeing the results of NXT starting to come through onto the main roster, and that really injects a lot of excitement into the main roster in a way that it just doesn't do it now because NXT's sadly not as good now. And there are some people that I think, when Bron Breakker comes up, that'll be exciting. But back at this time, nearly everyone was exciting in NXT. You couldn't really do wrong. Everyone was excited. In 2015, we get Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha get called up in 2015. So by this point, they've been on the roster maybe 12 months. So they're settled. They're in their groove at this point. But I don't know how long Enzo and Cass had been on the main roster at this point. And we would obviously see a lot more people coming up from NXT. So. Yeah, I agree. I feel like, for me, this period is very much about, say, Finn Balor and Kevin Owens and the women's evolution. Charlotte, Becky, Bayley. Bayley at this point might... I can't remember if she's just about to come up or, she might still be down in NXT. I know she didn't come up with those three, but I can't remember how long after it was. I know they kept her down there quite a while. It certainly wasn't just a couple of months. They kept her down in NXT for whatever reason a little bit longer. But, yeah, I think this is quite good. But as we get into, get closer towards, say, 2019. This is 2016. As we get closer towards, 2019, it's... 2019 for me was not a great year. I feel like the quality of people that were coming out of NXT was not as strong. I feel like, people might disagree, but Bobby Roode was champion, and I never felt a connection to Bobby Roode the same way as I did, say, Finn Balor or Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn. Bobby Roode just... I didn't feel the connection as much. And when he comes up, he struggles a little bit, and he ends up going into a tag team, and it's kind of, it doesn't hit the same as a Kevin Owens. And you could probably say the same for Shinsuke. Shinsuke, I think, is exciting, and I think he is good, but I don't think he quite found his groove in NXT. I think he had some great matches. His debut match, though, probably was his best. And then when he comes up very quickly, they seem to abandon him. So, there's a big fanfare about him coming up. And I can't remember what year he comes up, but he comes up to the main roster, and it's don't know. It seems like they try a few things, doesn't work, and they move on from it. I only remember him having one real feud for the title against AJ, and that was like WrestleMania 34. Now, WrestleMania 34 would have been 2018, if I'm right. I guess it must be about that, because you add 4 years on, that would be 38, wouldn't it? So Charlotte's managed to pick up the win. So, yeah, I mean, like, outside of, they called him up, built him to that, and then outside of that was it. Since then, he's been bobbing around with, like, Rick Boogs and whatever. But, yeah, this time, I do agree, some of the talent that was coming up, you know, was exciting. It was good. I mean, look, if you can call up Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, all at the same time, you know you've got something special going on. Do you know what I mean? You can call up Finn and Sammy and Kevin Owens all at the same time. Jeez. Such a special time. I didn't like Rude's. Bobby was not impressive. Probably his height. Sorry to say that Rick was bigger. Dana Brooke says she is the best protege ever. Facts. As Charlotte and Dana have picked up the win. Natalya is crying in the ring. Becky says, "You're right," and Natalya's like, yeah, and she's just constantly checking her nose. Oh, a turn! A turn! I don't remember this. This is great. Natalya was like, yeah, I'll be all right. Bang! Ah! Make her humble, Natalya! Make her humble! Oh, I don't remember that at all. How great that you get to relive moments like that you don't remember. I mean, God, she must have turned face and heel so many times. Beats up Becky. Corey Graves said, "What's that about?" It's about making her humble. Natalya walking away. Unbelievable scenes. Unbelievable. Did you see Dynamite finally got over 1 million? I did. Yep. Fair play. I mean, Blood and Guts, you would hope that it would get a good rating. But, you know, certainly no guarantees that it was going to do over 1 million, so. Challenge is going to be, can they maintain that? They had, was it like Road Rager? Then I think it was last week's Go Home, just a normal Go Home. But then obviously we were building to Forbidden Door. And then we get obviously Blood and Guts. Are they going to be able to maintain that next week? I think it'll probably dip, but maybe it'll dip back down to the normal 900-odd thousand where it was before. There's an advert here for AJ Styles. He is going to be the special guest on the Stone Cold podcast. So that's exciting news. We're back with Tom Phillips. Here's Dean Ambrose. Oh my God, Jon Moxley's here. AEW superstar Jon Moxley is here. So we've already spoke to a few of the people that are in this Money in the Bank ladder match. We're just speaking to Dean Ambrose is apparently his name. This must be Jon Moxley's brother. I've been watching Mid-Atlantic 83 with Dory Funk, Piper Flair, Dusty, Jake Roberts, Greg, The Hammer, and that is 20 years before my time, says Moldy. It's good to jump into like territory stuff. I find it really difficult because I don't know like any good starting points. Do you know what I mean? I suppose you just got to get in and start watching and The other thing as well is I don't know if the next episode is on there for like certain things. Some of it can be a little bit sketchy. So you might get a show, if, like, you know, you might get, say, 10 shows from 1984 or something like this. And it's like you wouldn't then be able to follow those stories. So that's always been like barriers for me, like doing that. But don't know, you'll have to let me know how you got on. Was it good? Did you want to watch more? Was you able to watch more? Do you plan on watching more? Here's Sheamus. Bum ba dum ba dum ba dum bum. Fella! They should have called Butch Fella. Ah, they missed a trick. They missed a trick. They could have called Pete Dunne Fella. Damn it. Right. Following contest is scheduled for one fall. Jojo is the ring announcer. I'm angry. I cancelled my network membership before the stream, so I can't watch one of my favourite shows ever. I wish I'd cancelled it after, as I'm just not into wrestling anymore, says JS17. That's disappointing. But if it's your favourite show ever, I'm sure you can picture the memories, relive the moments. We've got Sheamus attacking Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews down. The old Raw logo as well. We're proper going down memory lane. God, and his old music. Bum ba ba dum bum. Bum ba ba dum. Should have been called Uha Nation. Should have been called Uha Nation. That was his name on the indie scene. Apollo Crews just doesn't hit as well. He's doing some stuff down in NXT at the moment, isn't he? Last I heard. And I heard that he might have got rid of the accent as well. I've got Goldust in the background. I think this might have been like Golden Truth era, where it was R-Truth and Goldust tagging together. Beautiful right hand there by Apollo. That looked great. Summer Rae, Zack Ryder, Goldust. R-Truth. Da-da-da, da-da-da. What era do you prefer, 2016 or 2022? Well, great question. Hope you're well, dude. I would say 2022, right? Hear me out, right? It's not as good. 2016 is better, but we know what's going to happen. I know where all of this goes. I know what's coming. So I sort of feel like if you could go back to 2016 not knowing what was coming, and you could be like, oh man, you know, Finn Balor is around and Bayley's coming up, and you've got like Charlotte finding her feet, and you've got Sasha Banks finding her feet, and you know, you got like Roman is, you know, people are kind of so-so on him, but Seth's around, and AJ Styles, you got John Cena still around, and it's like, I feel like there's quite a bit of excitement. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of things and directions that you can go in. If you can go back to it not knowing what's about to follow. Because to be honest, I think what follows is there is some, I mean, listen, for the last 5-6 years, there's been some fantastic moments. I'm sure we could spend the next few hours just talking about our favourite moments from the past 5-6 years. Things like, you know, an Edge return at the Rumble, you know, and then the match he has against Randy Orton. some of the great WrestleMania moments that we've had recently. Like we can go through a list, but I think I feel like it's a decline. I feel like 2014 is amazing because you've got the whole Daniel Bryan story, which is just, fantastic. I mean, it's just brilliant. So the whole build to that WrestleMania, and WrestleMania 30 is just great WrestleMania, and the end of the streak, and Brock, and all that kind of stuff. And then, you've got Brock kind of destroying Cena at that SummerSlam. Then you get through to, 2015, and 2015 is where you get the women's evolution. And that's where, Charlotte and everything, it feels like the women's wrestling gets a big boost. You've still got Brock around destroying everyone. But, Cena's still about as well. And, there's some exciting stuff. I feel like that's where you get the emergence of, say, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, I think, hits the main roster at that point. And, that feels exciting. And now here we are in 2016. So I feel like that 2014, 2015, 2016, I feel like that's a really fun period. But then I think, every year after kind of feels like it's less than as we get to 2019, which, as I said, I remember 2019, we were doing watch-longs at that point, and I remember the show, I remember the conversations we were having, which is man, these shows would be rubbish if it wasn't for the Firefly Funhouse. I can remember having those conversations, saying, the Funhouse was the only thing of significance, really. And, 2019 has got, a few moments, but really it's Bray, and it's The Fiend, and it's you just can't touch that stuff. That stuff's just fantastic in 2019, and there wasn't, loads that was kind of keeping up with that. And then, as I said, the pandemic and lockdown and having Raws and SmackDowns in an empty performance center, and then the Thunderdome, which was great at first and then very, very quickly became stale. Things, all of that kind of stuff was just, rubbish. I mean, it's just some of the worst years. I really, really think 2020, 2021 are just... It's WWE doing what they can to keep the show going, but those years don't stand up against great years or, years that had come before, so... I feel like 2016 and all how fresh it felt and how vibrant NXT was and the talent that was coming through and the potential. I feel like that's better than now, but we don't know where we're going now. We don't know what's coming now. I mean, what could be coming could be fantastic, couldn't it? Could be amazing. Sheamus has got Apollo up on his shoulder and drives him into the mat. Would you agree that 2015 was boring but good? Era bads. Suffering Succotash. Sheamus, Money in the Bank. LON Goods. Heist of the Century. Fatal 4-Way Payback. I think 2015 has got... I think 2015 is not bad, actually. The reason why I say that is because I remember 2015, you had the Suffering Succotash, and Roman's character wasn't right, and it was dividing opinion, but that wasn't ruining the show for me, although they were massively pushing him. I think, wasn't it the Rumble in 2015 that he wins? And The Rock has to come out and... try and hold his hand up to try and get some cheers, and it's clear that he's being massively pushed. So the Roman push is backfiring, but I don't know, I go back to what I just said. I think the emergence of Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, and what we're doing with the women's division was very exciting. Very exciting. I think what we're doing with Kevin Owens, and do you remember when he was appearing on Raw as the NXT champion, challenging John Cena? That was very exciting. So, those things were really good. And I just think, NXT in general, I mean, if you're talking about WWE at that time, you have to include NXT because it was so... And you have to include the network. And, you've got to remember that the network... I mean, I think I'm right in saying the network started in 2015 for us in the UK. So, like even that felt like really exciting. I totally see where you're coming from, and I totally understand that there's things that aren't right, and there's things that are not perfect in 2015. But I think there was also some really exciting stuff that was going on, which was like the emergence of the network, which I think you got in America in 2014 and we got in 2015. And as I said, NXT, which was killing it, doing some great stuff. I feel like, is it at this time you've got Asuka down in NXT? And you've got that excitement of, oh man, when she comes to the main roster. And you could say the same with Shinsuke. And you could certainly say the same with Finn Balor. I don't know where Finn is at this point. I don't know if he's come up at this point. But I feel like I would say that 2014 was about Daniel Bryan and Brock. I would say that, and maybe the network in America. I'd say that 2015 is about potential. I would say 2015 felt like a new beginning. It felt like a new beginning. It felt like 2014, had been about Daniel Bryan getting to the title, really. And it had been about, Brock, who, is kind of an old name. And we were starting to see Cena kind of winding it down a little bit. But 2015 felt like it was new. I felt like there was new faces, a lot of new faces around. And NXT was really starting to bring some people through. And I think in retrospect, you can certainly look back at it now and go, yeah, it's a bit flat. But that's retrospect. I remember watching it at the time, and it was good at the time. It was exciting at the time. You didn't know where things were heading at the time, and I mean, look, I enjoyed 2015 so much that I was, I was well into it, and I ended up starting a YouTube channel. So, the Wrestling Days channel started in January of 2016. Apollo Crews picks up the victory. But there was so much that was going on in wrestling that and it felt so exciting that I wanted to talk to like people about it. I wanted to share my opinions, and there wasn't really anyone I knew that was watching. So that's why the Wrestling Days channel starts, and the Wrestling Days channel starts in January of 2016. And really, the intention was, I wanted to do watch-alongs from the very beginning, but it wasn't something that was possible at the beginning because, as I said, I had a job, and I also had flats everywhere, so like I couldn't make noise. So that wasn't possible. But so I was doing little videos, and the plan was never to do figure videos. That was not really the plan, but as the channel had started, I had actually like been buying some figures at that time. And so it just, it just became, didn't even think about it. If you've got a channel dedicated to wrestling and you just happen to be buying figures at that time, then, the two kind of easily marry together. So that was a long answer. I can definitely see what you're saying. I can definitely see that they're, misbooking Roman at this time. And I can definitely see that it's not perfect. But I actually think that, there was so much, like, excitement around as well. It felt so, fresh and... I remember this as well. This was great. Was this Battleground? They've all got flags. Yeah, Battleground. I remember that promo, man. That promo was so good. They've all got, like, flags with their logos on. And then they all just, like, start running at each other. It's just a little promo for Battleground. Battleground, July 24th, Washington, D.C., this 2016 is the year of the first draft where Finn, Alexa Carmella, American Alpha, Nia Jax, and Corbin got brought up. I remember that. 'Cause I believe they were in the performance center and they had like cameras on them. So yeah, that was fun. Cena Styles should be coming up next. Who do you think will be the top wrestler in WWE 6 years from now? Top wrestler 6 years from now. I'll tell you the names that are in my mind: Theory, Riddle, Bron Breakker. Those are the names. I don't expect Roman to be around in 6 years. I think he will have gone to Hollywood. I don't think Cody will be around because he spoke about wanting to retire when he's 40, which I think is not that far away. He has said he might do a bit beyond that, but I don't think he's going a long way beyond that. So I'm not expecting Cody to be around. I'm not expecting Roman to be around. I don't know that anyone like Kevin or AJ would become that person because they're not that person now. So, would they go on to become like the face when Roman goes? I don't think so. I think they're great wrestlers and they're in the conversation. They can be used in main events, but I don't think they'll. I don't think they're going to go on to be that person. I think you've got to look at someone like Gable Steveson, but it really depends how he settles in. I mean, it's going to be so hard to say he's going to be the guy because we just don't know how he's going to do. I mean, he could absolutely bomb. I feel a bit more confident about Bron Breakker. He's got a good size to him, and they clearly believe in him, and they're massively pushing him. So, yeah, Bron, Theory, you have to have Theory in the conversation. He's so young, but he's so good at what he does. So, Theory, Bron, you could chuck Gable in. And, yeah, I think Riddle as well. Riddle is someone that I think has managed to get over, but I don't think he'll be the guy. It's hard to say who the guy is going to be because I feel like they think it could be Theory. But it's hard, isn't it? Is he the next John Cena? Is he the next Roman Reigns? It's very early to tell. They thought they found the guy a few times, obviously with like Sid and Diesel, and there's been a few failed experiments. Just banging on about the P.O. box, says Miss Clown. Yeah, it's very high on my to-do list, Miss Clown. It's going to happen one day, and what a day that will be. Moldy said, funnily enough, as this is the year the first draft was back, we had Shane and Brian as SmackDown GM, Stephanie and Foley on Raw. Oh, man, that moment, that moment, I forgot about that. That moment, was that, what year was that? That was 2016, wasn't it? 2016, where Steph is in the ring and she's getting presented with that awards, and then Shane's music hits and Shane McMahon returns. That is such a fantastic moment. It's an amazing moment. I can remember replaying that moment again and again and again because we hadn't seen him in so long. And, you've got Steph in the ring and she's about to be given this plaque, this award by Vince. And it's the crowd are booing and because they're both heels. And then, here come the money. So good. Right, we are, I know we've been chatting away about lots of different things, about like what was going on in wrestling at this time and all that kind of stuff. But we are going to be paying this match some attention. This is AJ Styles against John Cena. And these are great matches. Well, what I'm going to do, actually, I'm just going to have a look at the Dave Meltzer star ratings for this. Not that it matters, but it's just interesting to know, isn't it? I can tell you that New Day versus Enzo and Big Cass versus Vaudevillains versus Gallows and Anderson got 2.5 stars out of Uncle Dave. Baron Corbin against Dolph Ziggler got 1.75. Charlotte and Dana against Natalya and Becky Lynch got 2.25. He did like Apollo Crews and Sheamus a little more than that. He gave it 2.5. So far we've had 2.5, 1.75, 2.25, 2.5, kind of all largely around the same area. Then we get this one, AJ Styles versus John Cena. 4.25. 4.25 from Uncle Dave Meltzer. John Cena comes out in his black t-shirt. That's, I think that's based on a beer, isn't it, that design? It's like a square white with a red kind of line going diagonally, and it's got the hustle, loyalty, respect. It's a beer, and I can't remember what it's called. It begins with P. I don't know if we have it here. Wrestling has heels, faces, and stomachs. Days in order. Which of these former world champs would you say are most underrated? You can't. It's always hard to do that. 'Cause how can you? I don't know how people are rated. Do you know what I mean? I have no idea. I don't know how people rate them. So like Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Christian. Yeah, I mean, I can't answer it. I don't know, because I don't know how people rate them. I can tell you who I like out of those, but I can't tell you if they're underrated, because I don't know how rated they are. I think everyone's opinion of wrestlers is different, isn't it? Some people really love certain people, some people don't like them. Cena throwing his t-shirt out into the crowd. So here we go. We're fully focused on this. I think we're under 2 hours now, 2 hours left to go. We got this match. We got the Money in the Bank match. We got Seth against Roman. But I think we've got less than 2 hours left. It is electric. The crowd are really into this. On their feet, lots of noise, lots of energy. Definitely has got a big fight feel. Smile on the face of John Cena. What's the chant? Let's go Styles. AJ Styles. And I think there might be a Let's Go Cena in there. It's great energy. It's great energy. So at this point, we're about 6 months into the AJ Styles run. He made his debut at the Royal Rumble. Here we are at Money in the Bank, and he's in the ring. I mean, honestly, it amazes me that he's in with Gallows and Anderson. I don't remember them being together this early into his run. I mean, 6 months in. Man, that was sick as well, wasn't it? That was so good. That's another one, isn't it? Like, so many people rewatch the AJ debut. They mess up the cameras, but still great moment. This is my house. AJ doing his best Paige impression. This is my house. Red hot crowd. This is like an AEW crowd. This is such a hot crowd. They're going to start chanting AEW in a sec. So they go to lock up again, and Cena grabs the arm of AJ. Working on the arm. Nice little roll by AJ. He kips up. Side headlock, working on the head of Cena. This is my house, he says out to the crowds. Against the ropes goes AJ. AJ over the top. Leapfrog by Cena. Takedown by AJ. AJ's running around. It's fired up, man. Crowd are fired up. Cena's got a bit of blood on his face. Don't know if he got caught in the nose. AJ said I could do this all night long. So he's showing John that he's technically better. Cena chants here. Crowd are really, really buying into this. They lock up, middle of the ring. Collar and elbow. Round the back goes AJ. Side headlock by AJ. Cena goes down to one knee. Hashtag Cena versus Styles. Against the ropes goes AJ. Cena goes down. AJ over the top. Oh, nice arm drag. Nice arm drag. And again by Cena. AJ goes back to the corner. Cena's up. Nice flips AJ over. AJ gets hurled across the ring. So we got AJ down. Cena standing over AJ. Waiting for him to get back up to his feet. I like AJ in this black attire as well. It looks kind of cool. You can't see me. You can't see me. And a big forearm strike by AJ. John Cena selling like a super trooper there. Stumbling all over the place. Like he just walked out of a bar at 3 in the morning. Oh, big chop there by AJ as well as Cena goes back against the ropes. Another big strike. Cena slumps against the ropes. Big chop comes in by AJ. Cena's selling here was quite good. A bit, maybe a little OTT, but not to a point of, not like Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan. Not to the point of distraction, but it's really getting across like how effective AJ is. Against ropes goes AJ. Oh, flips over the top of Cena, lands on his feet. AJ just constantly like, this is too easy, man. This is too easy. Forearm strikes by AJ. AJ walking away as Cena grabs him. Belly to belly. One. Oh, just a one. Mattel is putting out a Barbie as David Bowie. Oh. Roll over by AJ. Forearm strike. Just seeing AJ on the outside of the ring as John Cena jumps out and he's going around to AJ. AJ by the commentary area. AJ with a kick to the midsection. And he goes over to try and smash John Cena into those ring steps. Cena blocks it. Hurls AJ into them. AJ jumps over the ring steps. Slides into the ring. And John Cena's perplexed here because he's gone from throwing AJ into the ring steps to moments later having someone standing in the ring berated him. We just saw AJ go over the ring steps, quickly slide into the ring, and then talk trash to John Cena. It is great actually to revisit this match because it's great to see like how they are presenting AJ as being like so technically better than, like, a lot of people that Cena have faced. Like, normally Cena would have thrown someone into the ring steps that would have barged into them, gone into them, and the ring steps would have gone everywhere. Here we're seeing AJ being just that step ahead. And that has been, like, a real theme in the early stages of this, where he's been saying to, like, Cena, you know, I can do this all night. And really kind of getting across that he is technically better. That obviously is the early narrative of the match, as AJ is in control. Lovely suplex, and everything he's doing is so crisp. Is this all he's got? Is this all he's got? Styles saying to the fans, is this all he's got? Is this the great John Cena? It is. It is all he's got. Ah, it's not. Look, here comes Cena. Big right hand. Ooh. Kick to the midsection. Looked a bit snug. Nice right hand again by Cena. Cena starting to come back now. AJ face first into the corner. Hurled across. Moves out the way. Cena goes into the turnbuckles. Days, in what order are these world champions would you say were best in ring? Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Christian. Best in ring. Best in ring. I was never massively impressed with Dean Ambrose in ring. I feel like he's a brawler. And, I think he serves a purpose, but I think his purpose is what he's doing now. I think he was all right in WWE, but I think he was frustrated. So I would have Dean Ambrose quite low. I'd also have Christian quite low. I think that I'd probably put him above Dean Ambrose. But I think that he was someone that, again, always struggled to kind of find his voice, always struggled with the connection with the crowd, largely overshadowed by Edge. People, I think, like him and wanted him to succeed, but I think they also tired quite quickly of him. And I think you can go through some great Christian matches, but maybe not as many as the other people on the list. So I'd probably have Ambrose bottom, then I'd go Christian. Then I would be going probably Kevin Owens. Then I would go Jericho, because I think Jericho's good in ring, but I think his main benefit is kind of what he does in his promos and just his charisma. And then I think you're left with the two in-ring specialists. I think you got Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, who I think are both, like, really, really great in-ring competitors. I feel like if you're just focused on in-ring, I mean, man, how do you separate an AJ Styles with a Daniel Bryan? I would say that Daniel Bryan is regarded as one of the best in-ring ever, and so I would put him first. I would say that his connection with the fans is beyond anything that AJ's managed to achieve yet. I mean, beyond what most people have achieved. I mean, yes, Mania and everything was so special. But his matches were great as well. I mean, like, you can go through, like, some really, really strong Daniel Bryan matches. I do think that a lot of Bryan's best work might have come pre-WWE, though. I mean, I think if you was talking about the best Daniel Bryan stuff, you'd probably be talking about Ring of Honor. But I think that's good, because he's shown he can do it in ring, but he's shown he can work the WWE style as well, and have a connection with the fans that is just on such an incredible level. I mean, he ticks so many boxes. So many boxes. And I feel like AJ's pretty close to that, but I just think that AJ maybe hasn't got that same level of kind of connection that Daniel Bryan did. In ring-wise, I mean, good luck trying to separate them. Both so crisp. Both capable of such incredible matches. You might even be able to make an argument that AJ Styles has had better and more like impactful in-ring matches than Daniel Bryan did in WWE. So if you wanted to just focus on WWE, you could make a really great argument for AJ Styles. But I would go Daniel Bryan top if we're including Ring of Honor. I'd go Daniel Bryan top. I'd go AJ. I feel like Kevin Owens and Jericho kind of fall quite close together in the middle. And then I'd be looking at Dean Ambrose, Christian at the bottom. But, yeah, some of them are, like, really hard to separate. Cena rolls out the ring. AJ changed the game on how people look at smaller wrestlers. Bryan wouldn't have a chance without AJ breaking down that barrier. I feel like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart might want to have a word because... And also, so might Owen Hart and Dynamite Kid and Tiger Mask. I don't think AJ... You might feel that AJ played a role in that, and I don't know, maybe he did. I can't say he played a role in that for me. I feel like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Dynamite Kid, Owen Hart, Tiger Mask, they are the ones that kind of did it for the smaller wrestler. But I can't go. I'm trying to see if there's a way that I can go with that, but I can't. I can't see how AJ broke that barrier down. Give me more detail on that. I genuinely would be interested to get more detail on that. I would feel like Shawn and Bret and Dynamite and all of them would have opened that door. X-Pac is underrated. That is it, says Austin. At least make it hard. Rank these from best in-ring to worst. Bryan, AJ, HBK, Bret Hart, Eddie Guerrero. Do you know what? As years have gone by, well, for me, number one's HBK. That's actually quite comfortable. I would say as the years have gone by, my appreciation for Bret Hart just continues to grow. I don't think I really appreciated him as much as I should have when I was young. But there was always other people that I preferred. There was always some a bit shinier than a Bret Hart. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd watch Bret Hart, but I'd be thinking, it's Undertaker next. Or I'd be like, where's Ultimate Warrior? Or, do you know what I mean? Or I loved Bulldog. There was always someone that was shinier, bigger. And I don't think I really gave Bret Hart the credit he deserves. So I would say, for me, my favourite in-ring performer is Shawn. Then I would have Bret as number 2. Then I would have... I'd go with Daniel Bryan, because I'd just put him ahead. Then I would go with AJ. And then for me personally, I'd have Eddie Guerrero bottom of that list, you know. And that's mental, because I love Eddie Guerrero and I rate Eddie Guerrero, but we are putting him up against, you know, some of the best names ever in ring wise. I mean, that's why it's a hard list that you've given. But no, I feel pretty good about that actually. I'd go HBK top, widely regarded as the best in ring performer. You know, Ric Flair sings his praises, Triple H sings his praises. I mean, I feel like whenever you hear people talk about like HBK, they talk about what an incredible in ring performer he was, and it's always difficult to separate him and Bret, but for me personally, I always enjoyed watching. I mean, I feel like those Undertaker matches easily separate him. So I would go with Shawn and then Bret. Then Daniel Bryan. Then AJ Styles. With, I think the last one was Eddie, and I'd have Eddie at the bottom. I mean, AJ did it for smallers all over the world and different promotions, says James. AJ getting hung on that top rope. Edward says, how would you feel if they bring in KSI and Logan and they won the titles? I know it won't happen. I I wouldn't be crazy about it. I mean, KSI to me is a YouTuber that does music, and I know he had a couple of fights with Logan, but Logan's fight against Floyd Mayweather got him a lot of credit in my book. You know, he had to train really hard for that and really focus, and he looked all right in there. As I said, he could have got like absolutely destroyed and blown away by Mayweather, but he didn't. And even he says, I don't know if Mayweather just let me kind of get to the end of that or not, but that he got a lot of credit in my book for that. KSI has not had that. KSI has been doing music and drinks, and he you know, listen, if he goes and has like 12 rounds against Floyd Mayweather and puts himself through an extensive boxing camp, then he'll get some credit in my book. But right now, I can't say that KSI has got much credit in my book at all. So, yeah, I can kind of tolerate, and I'm all right with Logan coming in, and it's not going to be, like, too much of a chore. I'm sure his matches are going to be atrocious, but it's not going to be too much of a chore. It's not like I'm dreading seeing him, but, yeah, I'm certainly not looking to open the doors and let all the clowns come in. Do you know what I mean? Steve Austin in WCW is underrated. Check out his matches with Steamboats. I haven't seen them, to be honest. My WCW knowledge is sketchy, I would say, because I never watched it. So I have gone back and, like, you know, I mean, obviously I've seen the big stuff. But actually sitting down and, like, watching, like, you know, every Nitro and every Thunder, I'm a long way from that. A long way from that, so... Good recommendation. Appreciate it. If you want to see some lost classics, then, well, Wrestle with Andy would know. What with the amount of research I would imagine you have to do, what with all the videos. So, there we go. AA by John Cena. Oh, shoulder up by AJ. Shoulder up by AJ. Crowd on their feet. They thought that was going to be it there. The match feels like it's moved into like a different phase, because the early phase was AJ Styles being that step ahead. John Cena's been able to kind of close that gap, and it's been a lot more even, and John Cena has really had some moments of success, and caps it all off with the AA, but only gets a 2 count. Cena trying to get, looks like his legs have gone a little bit numb. AJ Styles chants, I think, from the crowd. Cena back up on his feet, going over to the corner. There's some fans' videos being edited to show Charlotte's music hits as she enters the women's Money in the Bank whilst Liv climbs and Charlotte wins. Could you see Twitter burn down if that happens? Charlotte enters and wins Money in the Bank. Well, she can't be in it, can she? Because I don't think there's like any extra spots. So I don't think she can be in it. So, yeah, I think that, well, Twitter will quite happily get upset at anything it can get upset about. So, Twitter's not going to need, and social media's not going to need much to get upset. So, if Charlotte wins Money in the Bank, would Twitter and social media be upset? Yes, it would. But if Charlotte doesn't win Money in the Bank, will social media be upset? Yes, it will. So, do you know what I mean? There's no escaping it, is there? There's no escaping it. Whatever happens, there's going to be tears. Styles is on his feet. Cena is down. Brock wasn't in it. Just saying, Charlotte won't do that. I can't remember, though, if there was a mystery place. Was there a mystery spot for Brock? and like no one came down, or did Brock just come down and just wasn't in the match and just won the match? I genuinely can't remember. I can't remember if there was like a mystery position that like Brock ended up coming down when the match had started, or if like there was no free spots and Brock just came down and won it. Styles Clash here by AJ to... Oh. If it was that there wasn't a mystery spot and Brock just came down and just won it, because I do remember him just coming down like, as the match had started, then yeah, I mean, that sucks. I don't care that it's Charlotte. I think, you know, because people qualify for these matches, so, do you know what I mean? Just having someone come down that's not even in it sucks. What's the whole point of like the qualifying and all of that? So I could actually, on that occasion, I would actually say that Twitter's anger would be justified. AJ on the outside, looking to... Oh, knees up. It's because there's 8 men booked, but there's only 7 women. Surely they add another person, said Big Time Baxter. Well, it comes down to how many people are advertised, doesn't it? I mean, if they have 7 women in it and there's no mystery person graphic and they're saying that that's it, you know, the match starts, well, that's it then. Just because there's 8 guys doesn't necessarily mean there has to be 8 girls. I mean, I would really struggle to find a way that you could explain a woman coming down when the match has started there was no mystery position or anything, there was no extra spot for them. I wouldn't be able to buy into that. There wouldn't be a way of justifying that to me, because if you want to have a mystery person and everyone's waiting to see who it is and no one comes down and then the match starts, I can get into that a little more because there was a mystery spot. And the person eventually joins the match. But to have just someone come down that wasn't advertised and there wasn't a spot for them and they never qualified, like, all of that just seems rubbish to me. What's the point in having rules if rules are not going to be followed? We've got a referee that's just been knocked down. Here's Gallows and Anderson. They've come down to start beating up on John Cena. Magic Killer. AJ is being put on top of John. Referee is 1, 2, 3. And there we go. AJ wins. Screwy finish. It's a shame. Really good match. Really, really good match. But shame that it gets like the screwy finish. JBL said 15 years we've been waiting and this is what happens. Yeah. Cena gets screwed, says Edward. Can you say your list of all 7 women participants from likely to unlikely to win? I think it's really hard to call, to be honest. I think it's a really good Money in the Bank this year, 2022 at the time of recording this, for anyone that's watching in the future. Maybe you sat there in 2074 thinking, what are they talking about? We're talking about the 2022 Money in the Bank. I would say, I mean, listen, Otis won. Yeah? So, Otis won in 2020. You can't rule anything out. Nikki ASH won. So, you can't rule anything out, can you? I feel like the person I think's going to win will be Alexa Bliss. I think Becky stands a chance. And I think Liv stands a chance. So I would say Alexa, Becky, Liv would maybe be my top 3. Then I'd be looking at Asuka, because I think you've always got to have Asuka in the run-in. I think it's too soon for Raquel Rodriguez. Lacey Evans has only just come back, and I think to give her Money in the Bank would be... I don't know. We ain't done... I mean, she'd literally just been doing sub-story promos. I mean, we just haven't done anything with her, so she feels a bit cold to me. So, Lacey, Raquel would be right at the bottom. Then I'd have Shotzi, who's not been that much more active, but they've done a few things with her. Then I've got Asuka. Then I've got probably Becky or Liv. I've got Alexa at 1. I've got Alexa winning it. We did a wrestling escape pod on Tuesday on this channel. We did a wrestling escape pod, and we kind of did our final predictions. And I've got Seth for the guys and Alexa for the women. Swerved. That was a good show. That was. Swerved was good. All 9 episodes on demand. If you've never seen Swerve, check it out. It's good. It's like a hidden camera show, and they get the wrestlers to like do pranks. The thing was, they were doing pranks on the public, and I don't know why it ended up ending. I think they said something like it felt a bit cruel. I'm sure I read somewhere them say that. The views must have been all right on Swerved. I can't imagine that Swerved. I want to have a look in that actually. Why did Swerve get cancelled? Due to talent complaints. This is interesting. I do remember something being a bit weird about how it got cancelled. Rumours are floating that talent did not like the show's format, and that might be what's ended the program's run. Doesn't give any more details than that. Oh, what's this? Donald Anderson, cameraman for the show Swerved, has sued Titus O'Neil and WWE. He brought a lawsuit against both for an alleged attack launched by O'Neil after a prank was pulled on O'Neil. Paige shocked O'Neil with an electric shock stick, and that allegedly provoked Titus O'Neil to run up to him and kick the camera out of his hand. Anderson says that the alleged attack led to injuries to his wrist and fingers, and that the result of those injuries meant that he couldn't work for 6 months. Anderson is suing both Bullard and WWE for a whole host of charges, including battery, assault, willful misconduct, negligence, and the intentional infliction of emotional distress. He further alleges that WWE knew of his significant anger management issues. Whose? Titus's? O'Neil recently has the case moved from California to Florida. I can't live over there and say, I don't know if this is taken seriously. Lawsuits against WWE are fairly frequently. This is notable, and it might have contributed to the cancellation of Swerved. How mental is that? So they do a hidden camera show, and obviously they're pulling pranks, and they pull a lot of pranks on the public, but they do pranks on some of the wrestlers as well. And it appears here that one of the pranks is that Titus ends up getting flipping electrocuted, shocked by something, and he turns around and kicks the camera out of the cameraman's hand, and the cameraman ends up suing WWE and suing Titus O'Neil. and saying that he can't work for 6 months and that he's got swelling to his hand and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty wild. All of that from a WWE Network show. It's pretty wild. Something in my head was like, there's something about this. There's something about Swerved. I've not thought about Swerved in years, but I remember it being a fun show. I do remember it being a fun show. He was sued for 1.2 million. How crazy is that? I wonder what happened with that. Is there a way of finding out what happened with that lawsuit? WWE Swerved lawsuit. We've got the Money in the Bank match starting. There's lots of articles from 2017. Titus O'Neil files counter lawsuit against the cameraman. So they sued each other. Same Matt Anderson suing him. So they end up suing each other actually for $15,000. Money in the Bank. Jericho's going to make his way down. I don't know. Being sued. Latest on the lawsuit. Here we go. So this was 2019. God, can you believe this? 2019. It was still going on. After a long period of silence, a new development has popped up with the lawsuit between Titus O'Neil over the episode of Swerved. There is a new meeting date that has been set as March 13th. This has been rescheduled from a January date. So it was still going on in 2019. O'Neil's response, he acted out after being assaulted. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel to me like it's O'Neil's fault. But that was 2019. I want to know how it ended. Perhaps it's still going. Perhaps it hasn't ended. Oh, here it is. Here it is. On the 15th of May. Here we go. The lawsuit brought by cameraman Donald Anderson, who worked on the Swerve series against WWE superstar Titus, was officially dismissed after Anderson informed the court that all sides had come to a legal settlement. The report notes that the terms of the settlement were not disclosed. So the case was thrown out because they reached an agreement, but the agreement was never disclosed, so no idea. Oh, wow. Does Cultaholic put a video up just a month ago that says 10 ridiculous pro wrestling lawsuits? And that was a month ago. Was the Titus one in there? Fan sues WWE 500. No, it wasn't, actually. How amazing. What? So Cultaholic do a video, 10 ridiculous lawsuits, and they don't even include the Swerved one that we're just talking about. Crazy. Undertaker and Kane coming in your house to take your food and your beer, says Yakuza. J17 said, what would you say is the best and worst ending in the past 7 years to a pay-per-view that you've watched live? What is the best and worst ending to a pay-per-view? Best and worst ending to a pay-per-view. Since 2015. It's difficult, isn't it? Because I'm trying to think of anything that happened in the flipping pandemic era, and I can't think of anything of note. Can't think of anything. I mean, I remember... I'm trying to think back to, like, some of the scores that we gave, and... I can't remember anything that was really that high apart from, was it SummerSlam? There was a SummerSlam we gave a good score to. I remember Roman coming back at SummerSlam. That was pretty good to see him come back. And he came back with, obviously, his new attitude. But even then, we didn't know. I mean, he did beat up, like, the Bray and Braun. But we didn't know then that he was full-blown heel. That was, I think, probably, like, the next SmackDown, we saw him with Paul Heyman. And that was, all confirmed. So that was pretty fun, seeing Roman return after being away for so long. That happened at the end of a SummerSlam, I want to say. When did The Fiend get burnt? That must have been the end of a show. I can't remember if that closed the show or not. I'd have to think it probably did. I can't imagine we had a match after that. I'd say that's the worst. I think that's one of the worst things that's ever happened in WWE. I think that's, for me personally, that's a proper we jumped the shark moment. We go way too far. Like, to see someone being burnt alive in the ring, I just think I just thought it was awful. So, I know I'll be in the minority on that, but I'll go with that being the worst. The best, I mean, to be honest, the best I wanted to say would be Daniel Bryan, but that was 2014. I'm trying to think how some of the... Oh, man. There's some good endings to... like Sasha and Bianca was good at WrestleMania. I really enjoyed that. Sasha and Bianca. Asuka winning. Oh, that was amazing. I'll go with that. I'll go with Ronda arriving in WWE just after Asuka wins the Rumble. So Asuka wins the Rumble. Amazing. Big Asuka fan. Then we were hoping to see Ronda in the Rumble. She wasn't. She comes walking down afterwards. And then we get, like, the great moment where Ronda's arrived. She points at the sign. She even goes to shake Asuka's hand, and Asuka's like, slaps it away. I love that. That was really cool. So I'll go with that. I'll go with Ronda arriving in Royal Rumble 2018, was it? As my favourite. Because I can't think of anything in 2020 or 2021 that happened at the end that I really loved, to be honest. We've got Cesaro in this match, and we've got Sammy, Jericho, Kevin Owens, Alberto Del Rio. Cesaro getting slammed into the ladder that's been introduced. We got Dean Ambrose on the outside. Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins and The Fiend, says King of Wrestling. What is your least favourite? To be honest, I mean, that doesn't bother me too much. I'm not that bothered by that. I didn't passionately feel like, this sucks, this is the end of wrestling, or that kind of stuff. Because I sort of felt like and I could be wrong, but I felt like I knew what they were trying to do at the time. And I think that what they were trying to do was they were trying to have The Fiend no sell and he was getting beaten up and just lie there as Seth was smashing him with stuff. But the thing was, none of it was really hurting him, because as soon as the match is over, he pops up and then starts attacking Seth. So he was never really hurt. He was never really affected by that stuff. It was that he was trying to get Seth to go further. He wanted to push him more. He wanted him to go darker. He wanted him to do more. Don't just try and knock me down and beat me, but smash me with weapons. Throw everything you've got at me, because I can take it. and I want to drive you into that darkness. I want you to go quite far. I want, I felt like I was watching it, and that came across to me. That's what they were trying to do, and that was the story they were trying to tell. But I just think that it wasn't told very well. I don't think it was told very well. And then not only that, but you had the whole confusion about there being a potential DQ. Like, people then didn't know what a ref stoppage was. For some reason, like, this seemed like a new concept to a load of people. And then, I tell you what, WWE properly dropped the ball because the message came out that it had been a DQ, and you absolutely can't have a DQ in a Hell in a Cell. So, you've got a lot of people that are confused by the ending and confused by what was going on. Then when they're looking for answers, they're finding DQ, which then upsets them. I mean, the whole thing was messed up and botched. I will agree to that. But for me, watching it at home, I sort of felt like I could follow what was happening. I remember doing a video shortly after about why this wasn't, like, a disaster, why this wasn't the end of the world. Because there was a lot of people that were into The Fiend and into Bray and everything saying this is the worst thing ever. And that narrative has still remained, actually. That narrative has stuck around. But I think that's WWE just not doing a better job of telling that story. But I still feel like that was the story they were trying to tell. The Fiend trying to push Seth to, like, a dark place. Sammy with a ladder, putting a ladder in the ring. Moldy said, Heist of the Century is the best. There'll be a lot of people that will go with that. A lot of people that love that moment. I remember that video. I did agree with it, says Austin. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that narrative has not reached the masses. The masses definitely are still with the idea that this was, messed up and was, rubbish. And again, I can't really argue it because I do agree that they didn't communicate it very well. I think if you are going to do, like, ref stoppage, and ref stoppage is a thing, like, there's no problems with ref stoppage. Basically, if you cannot communicate, someone at some point is going to have to stop that match. Because if you can't say that you submit and you can't continue in that match, someone has got to stop in and call the match on your behalf. And so if the referee is going to do that and say, look, he's had enough, a ref stoppage, like, that's legit, that's fine, and that can happen. Then you do get, obviously, people going, well, hang on, if ref stoppage is a thing, why have they never done it before? And it's like, well, they have done it before, but it's just not something that gets used that often. It's something that they can use when they need to use it or want to use it, but it's not something that they go to, on a regular. But then how often is it that you see someone laying motionless for as long as the Fiend was, being smashed with toolboxes and weapons and, all that kind of stuff? How often do you see people selling for that long? Like, even that is quite unusual. So the whole thing was unusual. But I think if you're going to do something like that that's unusual, you've got to be crystal clear about what's happening and about, like, what the decision is. Saying that it's a DQ and then having to change that because you can't have a DQ was, proper messed up. The ref stopped the submission match at Mania 13, said Wrestle with Andy. Yeah, there has been examples of them, but I do admit they are, few and far between. We've got a cross arm breaker on top of the ladder here. Del Rio Gets kicked in the side of the head as he comes crashing down. He had a hold of Cesaro's. Oh my God, that's sick. I don't remember him doing that. Cesaro was on the ladder. He jumps off the rope, bounces back, hits a European uppercut on Kevin Owens. That was crazy. That was crazy, man. Jericho just quickly chucks Moxley out and then scarpers up the ladder. This is a good ladder match, by the way. So, AJ versus John Cena got 4.25 from Dave Meltzer. This also gets 4.25 from Dave Meltzer. This is, according to Meltzer, and take that however you want, this is a highly rated, highly regarded Money in the Bank match. Jericho climbing up. He's got one hand on the briefcase. The briefcase, by the way, is gold here. We're back in the days where the briefcase was gold with green lettering. Now it's green with gold lettering. I think they reversed it, didn't they? Kevin Owens tips the ladder over. Sammy spills to the outside. Jericho spills to the outside. Kevin Owens climbing up. Del Rio, backstabber. Makes the save as Owens is down. What I like about these spots is they look pretty brutal and they're believable as well. Like, there hasn't been, like, any setting up. What we just saw was, like, Cesaro on the ladder, jump off, bounce off the ropes, and hit that European uppercut. We just saw, like, Del Rio quickly race into the ring and hit a backstabber. Now we've got Cesaro in the ring, doing a Cesaro spin. Crowd are counting along as Del Rio is being spun around repeatedly. Chuck down. Jericho in. Cesaro's going to look to do the Cesaro spin on Jericho, and he does. Oh, and thrown into a ladder. Damn, man. Damn. Tell you what, the ref just checking on Jericho there, and understandably so. I wonder if he knew. He must have known. He must have known that was... I can't imagine Cesaro just did that without having checked with him beforehand, but it looks a brutal spot. Ambrose has climbed up a ladder. He's on top of the ladder. Ambrose comes crashing down and... not crazy about that. Cesaro does a moment where he sees, like... Ambrose, and he kind of has to wait for a few moments as he's sort of waiting for Ambrose to jump down, and then he gets crashed on top of. So lots of action though. The clock has stopped. Oh, it's given up. The clock's still ticking away, but it is... the clock's still ticking, but it's sometimes OBS just struggles to keep the live feed, if you will. Frog splash by Kevin Owens on top of Ambrose, who was on top of that ladder. I don't know what we've got left after this, actually. Once we're done with this, we've got 2 matches left. We've got Rusev against Titus O'Neil. So that's for the United States Championship. So we've got that. And then we've got Seth Rollins against Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Strike coming in by Owens. No Universal at this point. It does come in, but it gets brought in at not far away, actually. SummerSlam, isn't it? SummerSlam, we see Finn Balor against Kevin Owens. Elbows coming in. Sammy. Oh, my God. Sammy with a driver. He drives Kevin Owens into the edge of the ladder. Damn. Look at Owens, man. It's just proper slumped. That's not right. That's not right at all. JBL said you can break your tailbone on something like that. You can break your spine. Forget your tailbone. That's a great spot. There's some really good spots in this, actually. It's crazy to think 3 guys in this match were involved in blood and guts last night. Yeah, true. Why did Del Rio leave WWE? Wasn't there allegations against him? I think there was some... wellness... Was it wellness? I know that his time was not harmonious. He's smashing the ladder into Sammy. He was with Paige that second time, wasn't he? Suspended. So in 2016, actually not long after this, 18th of August, he was suspended for a violation of the wellness policy. Then he decided he wanted to opt out of his contract. He was unhappy, claimed he'd been given empty promises, included a main event push. They announced they'd come to terms with his release, so it was a wellness violation. And he was unhappy, and he felt there was broken promises. Strikes coming in by Del Rio. So we've got a ladder set up in the middle, and then we've got 2 ladders kind of going across to the corners. So we've got Cesaro on one platform. And everyone's getting into the ring, and they're all fighting now on this structure. So we've got Owens and Del Rio the one side. We've got Cesaro and Ambrose the other. We've got Sammy and Jericho in the middle. It's just done for a visual, isn't it, really? It's not done necessarily for the benefit of the match. It's just done for a cool picture. Strikes coming in. As we got 4 guys in the middle. We've got Cesaro grabbing another ladder. Cesaro's looking to bring another ladder in. Cesaro setting up another ladder next to the ladder that's in the center. He's going to climb up this ladder. Del Rio is climbing up the other side of this one. They're all now reaching as the briefcase is swinging away. Del Rio and Cesaro, their ladder gets tipped over. So Cesaro goes onto the top rope. Spills to the outside. Del Rio just goes straight to the outside. We've got Jericho. We've got Ambrose. We've got Sammy. We've got Kevin Owens. Headbutt by Jericho. Fires in another headbutt. Both Jericho and Ambrose fall off the ladder. Kevin Owens slips. And he's taken some mad bumps in this, Owens. And that just leaves Sammy. Is this what we're going to see on Saturday? Sami Zayn reaching for the briefcase. Jericho with a big strike. Jericho preventing Sammy from getting it. Sammy falls down. Jericho trying to get his hand on the briefcase, but Ambrose making the save. Kicks coming in by Jericho. Straight to the midsection by Ambrose. Looking for dirty deeds. Bang. I just thought about this, but I could see Becky winning. With Roman not on SmackDown every week, WWE could use this to get one of their big stars appearing on both shows, teasing both champions. She's in the running. She's a big star. Having her, if she hasn't got a belt, giving her the briefcase. I mean, it does make sense. I'm still leaning with Alexa because I just think they're going to make flipping Lily dolls. I think they're going to make Lily dolls with little briefcases. Alexa said it on Raw, and as soon as she said it, I was like, they're doing that, aren't they? They're definitely doing that. They're sold out of Lily dolls, apparently. I saw someone put a post up saying that they're glad they'd got theirs last year because they're all out now. So those things are still selling. Here's Ambrose. Everyone is down. Dean Ambrose. Jericho is making a move. No one's even close, though. As Dean Ambrose has got his hand on the briefcase. Dean Ambrose has won Money in the Bank. AE-dub, 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 AE-dub. Dean Ambrose. Good reaction from the crowd. JBL said, do you know how bad this is for the WWE that lunatic has got the briefcase? Ambrose has got the Money in the Bank. Ambrose wins. The case swinging away just like Cesaro, says Joe. What was your reaction to Roman Heyman? Freaked, like most people. It was done really well because I remember he was backstage and you see him sat on a sofa and then the camera just pans across and there's like Heyman next to him and it's like, great moment. It's a really great moment. As I say, there has been some over the past few years. I just think that 2020, 2021 was just not a good time. And, you know, wrestling without fans, you just felt it. You felt that it was missing something massive. The energy just wasn't there, you know. I mean, the fan reaction, it's such a big part of wrestling. It's an integral part. I mean, it's been part of wrestling since wrestling's been around. For as long as there's been wrestling, there's been people watching. So it's, to take that away, it was so strange. That'll be an era that people always revisit and talk about. The fact that we went through, it's crazy, isn't it? It's just crazy to think that it happened, that we went through a period of, you know, still not totally out of it, but we went through a period where there was no fans. We went through a time where there was no one out there, like, watching. At least we got a bit of NXT people out there towards the end of the Performance Center, and then we went Thunderdome. But, yeah, there's been some moments. Onwards and upwards, though. I'm excited for what the future's going to bring. A Bron Breakker, a Gunther, Theory. Renee Young. Renee Young is on the kickoff panel with Corey Graves. NXT's Corey Graves. He was doing commentary for NXT. We got Lita. There's Booker T. Booker T, Corey Graves, and Renee Young. I never thought we would have got Roman with Heyman, says Austin. If you look at the 2021 Women's Money in the Bank, they could have chosen Liv, Alexa, or Naomi as possible winners, but they went with Nikki ASH experiment that ultimately failed. Yep. Same as Otis. They went with the Otis experiment and that failed. And they could go with an experiment this year. They could go with Lacey Evans. I mean, I feel like she's right down the bottom of the list when it comes to people that are likely to win, but they could. Moxley's Ambrose's music still playing. Oh, it was this show? No, wait. No, I still think about this match. This match, how crazy that this match had that kind of effect on me that I still think about it from time to time. But it was Breezango against the Golden Truth, and they messed around with their like suntan beds, and they're burnt, and they're like peeling. They've got their skin kind of peeling off of them. I still think about it because it's one of the rare occasions where something that like happens backstage or whatever like actually impacts an actual match. Like they were like, oh, like every time they were getting chopped, they were like, oh, because like they're red and their skin's peeling off them and everything. Because normally you get like, things happen backstage, whatever, and it sets up the match, and then you have the match, and the match is the match. But this is like quite a rare occasion where they are actually affected during the match by something that had happened. And I can't think of many examples of that. So I do sometimes like refer to that match. I just completely forgot it was at Money in the Bank 2016. Here's Lana. So we are moving to Rusev Titus. I can't remember this, but I can't remember it's. I don't think it's going to be long. I doubt this goes on for a long time. Here is Rusev, the United States champion. Dun 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 dun. Otis one was always going to fail. I've got no idea why they chose him over Aleister Black, says Austin. Yakuza says Spider-Man is going to have a sex change. Well, that'll be a fun film. Be an interesting watch. He doesn't battle baddies. He battles prejudice. It's going to be Oscar winning. Here's Titus. Making moves, making $1 million moves, making moves, making $1 million. Everybody. I used to love his music. There he is with his son. Ah, and he kissed him on the lips. Was that this show as well? I remember everyone freaking out because he kissed his son on the lips. And everyone was like, he kissed him on the lips. And he just kissed him on the lips there. What's this? What's this? Fatherly son love. Rusev goes over. He should kiss him on the lips now. That's not a kiss. This is a kiss. Rusev and Titus collide into each other. Del Rio is 6'5", the same height as me and Randy Orton. Says Moldy. This isn't going to last long, says J14. He kissed a boy and he liked it. Because it's his son. Strike's coming in. Imagine if that wasn't his son. Imagine if that wasn't his son. And he just came out and he's like high-fiving the fans. How you doing? Rusev thrown into the ring. Here is 2 fun facts. AJ has had more matches in WWE than TBA. Do you mean TNA? Also, the image for this event is one of the cards in WWE Supercard that uses a championship in it. What? So we're saying that AJ has had more matches now in WWE than TNA. I like the fact you call it TBA, to be announced. We don't know what it's called yet. We're still waiting for them to name it. And the other one is something to do with Supercards. And you're, in all fairness, mate, you're the only one that plays Supercards. I mean, I'm not even just saying in this community. I think in the world. I don't think there's anyone else in the world. I think they keep that game going just for you. No one else plays that game. It might as well be called the Alex Bloomfield game. The Alex Bloomfield extravaganza. Kick out by Titus. We were less than 50 minutes away from the end as well. If you was wondering how much longer there is to go. Rusev. Cut to Lana on the outside. Yes. Yes. Rusev, yes. Kick coming in by Rusev. I watched last year's Money in the Bank because I'm too poor for Peacock, says Mysterious. Do you know what? Probably... You could probably watch that and the watch along, and it would probably make just as much sense. Nikki ASH hasn't had a singles match on TV since September. WWE really thought she'd cater to kids, but she was getting no reaction, and even some boos. WWE gave her the Raw Women's title and tag titles. Now that's a game I would play, says Alex Bloomfield. Miro against Terry Crews. Dream match. Dream match. Right, we're keeping Titus down at the moment. Rusev in control. Look at the smile on the face of Lana. He's very pleased. Not much reaction to this match, by the way. Crowd are probably still reacting from the kiss. Rusev shouting at the kid. Titus trying to get back into this. I can't remember how Titus qualified for this opportunity, but I can't remember him ever being a serious challenger for anything. Highlight of his career was falling over. As far as I remember, Becky still hasn't beaten Alexa 1-on-1. That is all, says Austin. Big Time Baxter said, if Alexa wins, who does she pin to become champion? Don't know, to be honest, because I think by the time, maybe Becky, because by the time she cashes it in, I think it's going to have to be next year. I wouldn't have anyone cashing in soon, because I feel like there's no need to take the title off Ronda, because she ain't had it that long, and I feel like, you know, we could do with a draft and freshen up some opponents for her, and I don't know, are you going to take it off Bianca? I feel like we're fully invested in Bianca. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Taking the belt off her now seems a bit pointless. So I would wait and see how it plays out, but who knows? I mean, Bianca could lose to Rhea Ripley. And then you could have Alexa cash in on Rhea Ripley at some point. I mean, you've got until, next year's Money in the Bank, haven't you? You've got 12 months. So you wouldn't even have to do it like the night after WrestleMania. You could, but you don't have to. So Bianca could end up losing the title at WrestleMania to someone like Rhea Ripley. And then a couple of months later, have Alexa cash in. Looking for the accolades. Although saying that, if you was going to wait that long, you could go with someone like Raquel Rodriguez. Couldn't you? Because if we are saying that you're going to wait 12 months, that would be 12 months of seasoning. 12 months to get someone like Raquel Rodriguez built up and get them ready, So I don't know. I kind of dismissed her and Lacey because I just don't feel like they haven't been around very long. But by the time they cash in, if it is 12 months' time, they would have had 12 months. So I think so. I think it's a tricky one. I think you can make arguments for a lot of people. But I think that makes it even more exciting. I think it's such a shame that it's colliding with the UFC. Because I'm not going to be able to watch it without finding out who's won, am I? There's no way I'm going to avoid spoilers. No way. I'll be on the UFC stream, loving UFC because the card's amazing. Looks amazing. UFC looks so good. I've done my research for it. I'm so excited for it. So, yeah, I'll be over there and, I'll have people coming in going, Dominic just won Money in the Bank. What? Yeah, but it was the women's. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. That makes sense. Maybe Ray could win the guys and Dominic could win the women's. That'd be nice. Rusev with the game over. And that's exactly what's happened. Dum dum. Bum ba dum bum bum. Ba ba dum ba bum. Ba ba dum ba dum ba dum. Titus is out in the middle of the ring. Rusev has jumped out the ring. He's got a microphone. He's gone over to this boy. You see your father. He's a loser. Happy Father's Day. You see your father over there. He's a loser. Happy Father's Day. Yes. Bum, 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 bum. Yes. That was fun. That's the PG version of what Christian was doing on AEW. I miss these, I really miss these. These, these are, these video packages where they show you things that are coming onto the WWE network. So here we've got, whenever you get a big pay-per-view, they always use it to promote other things. And one of the things they used to do would be to promote stuff that was coming onto the network. So this is 2016. And they're saying we've got Swerved, new season of Swerves coming. This August we've got Holy Foley. So that's going to be coming onto the network. The Cruiserweight Classic is coming. Battleground is just round the corner. AJ Styles will be getting interviewed by Stone Cold. Do you remember that Camp WWE? Edge and Christian show. But I can't remember them doing that. Sort of feels like when it was the WWE Network and they were desperately trying to get people to sign up for it, they were doing stuff like that. Now that Peacock have given them a load of money and they don't need to care about people signing up as much, they don't do it anymore. All of that original content, all of that really interesting, like Swerved and Edge and Christian show and Camp WWE and all that kind of stuff, they don't do that anymore. Because they don't need to do it anymore. Lol. Ah, yes. The Cruiserweight Classic. Moldy said, I had an eerie phone call from an old man saying, if you can guess what I have in my hand, you can have it. I said, if it fits in one hand, you can flip and keep it. And he hung up. If an old man rang up and said that's me, I think I'd just start crying. I don't think I'd be witty enough to think of a response like that. If Becky wins, surely she could cash in on Ronda and fail, says Edward. Well, that could happen, yes. Right, here we go. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. This is our main event of the evening. We're just seeing a lovely little video package on the history of the Shield. Only to be torn apart from within. Of course, the Shield split in 2014. There's always a plan B. I never watched that content anyways. Well, I watched Edge and Christian show and it was actually quite fun. That was good. Swerved I really enjoyed. I thought that was great. Holy Foley, I remember watching a few episodes. It was all right. Camp WWE, again, couple of episodes, and I can't remember getting into it. I tell you what's amazing, flipping Legends House. I wish they would do that every year. Legends House. If you've never seen it, check it out. You've got like Hillbilly Jim, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Is Hillbilly Jim one actually? Now I've said that. I feel like it is. I think it's Hillbilly Jim, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Mean Gene Okerlund, Pat Patterson. It's legends, all in this house. One of the Pussycat Dolls is the presenter. And they just get them doing, like, tasks. It's like, you know, your bog standard reality show, but... Oh, man, it's great. I love it. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's so much fun. So, love that. And then there's a great round table, which we've spoken about on streams before, where they do, like, you've got Mean Gene, you've got, like, Michael P.S. Hayes, you might have Dusty Rhodes, you might have, like, Ric Flair, you might have Mick Foley. They're sat around, like, this kind of semicircle table. And they'll spend an episode talking about Andre the Giant, and they'll spend an episode talking about Dusty Rhodes. They'll spend an episode talking about Texas wrestling. They'll spend an episode talking about... It's really... I don't know. I mean, it depends if you're into that kind of thing, but it's really insightful. And they just kind of talk about their experiences and what they've heard and what they know. And obviously, there's a whole wealth of information, and they all tend to be, you know... They don't tend to do an episode on something and go, oh, I don't really know much about that. They all know everything. It's really insightful. And, like, you know, something like Andre, where they'll have personal stories, is really good. Really, really good. So, there is, I mean, some really good stuff on the network. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I do. I will absolutely hold my hands up and take the network for granted. Imagine if one day it goes. Imagine if after Peacock has finished, like, with it goes. It can't, can it? It just can't. It just can't. Here's Seth in his grey attire, which is classic, and they made that as a figure. Redesign, rebuild, reclaim. I remember that slogan. I can't remember it sticking around for too long. No burn it down in the entrance music. Seth in his grey attire, making his way down to the ring. Table for 3. There's a new one on Friday with the BSK. I wonder, when does Liv have her time to eat at the table? WWE giving accolades to already established names. How many more years must she wait? I don't know, to be honest. I feel like the fact that she's managed to survive is, do you know what I mean, a real achievement. I mean, no one's got a right to be a world champion, and if she does achieve it, then, you know, Liv fans will obviously rejoice, and I think she will. I think she will achieve it, but I can't say that it's like deserved. That's maybe not the right word, but I don't know. I just feel like she came up way too early. When she came up to the main roster, I was quite critical that she wasn't ready, because she wasn't ready. And she's been on the main roster quite a while now, and she's done a lot of house shows and all that kind of stuff. But to be honest, it's still not been the longest of times that we've been doing stuff with her, because don't forget, it wasn't that long ago she was still in Riot Squad with doing things with Ruby Soho, and she's been like doing tag team stuff. I would say it's been 12 months maybe that she's been kind of doing this. I don't even know if has it been that long. I don't even know. And she got an opportunity at day 1 at the title, and that was about 6 months ago. So I kind of feel like the fact she's still there is a big win for her, because there's plenty of people that lost their jobs, and she survived all of those cuts. So that says to me they see something in her, and I just think that like a lot of it comes down to, you know, timing. I mean, Ronda's around, Bayley's coming back. There's just always people that are kind of just ahead. But she's in the conversation. Her time will come. And she's still young as well. That's another thing people forget. She's still really young. So I wouldn't worry about it. No one really can take the being champion for like granted, or like when's my time kind of a situation. But I think that it will happen for her. Right, main event time. Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins, and we got about half an hour to go. Appreciate the WWE Network whilst you have it, says Austin. What should I say to my stepdad when he asks me to get off the Xbox and stop watching you? Well, you should probably listen, to be honest, because it is 2 o'clock in the morning. So I feel like that's probably reasonable. When are you watching Money in the Bank? Early Sunday afternoon? I really don't know, to be honest. I actually genuinely don't know. I haven't thought about it. I don't even know if I will. I don't even know if I will end up watching it, because I sort of feel like I'm going to find out all of the results. And unless there is, like, maybe not only will I find out the results, I will also undoubtedly find out about how good the matches were and how good the show was, right? And I don't mind that. It's not. I'm not saying, like, don't tell me or anything, right? 'Cause there's no way I will avoid it. There is no way. It's impossible for me to avoid. So I genuinely don't mind. But I sort of feel like if people are going to tell me, and I'm going to get a real good idea of how the matches went, how the show went, who won everything, I don't know if I'm going to be racing to watch it, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't know. What I might end up doing is watching the things that I need to watch. Or I'm told to watch, basically. You need to watch this match. Or the Money in the Bank match is so good, you got to watch it. Collar and elbow tie up to kick things off, and Roman drives Seth back into the corner. It's kind of like Cesaro. He was always there, but there were others that were just better. It's a really good comparison, actually. It's a really good comparison. What's this button? What does this do? I don't know what that's done. Did that do anything? YouTube highlights on WWE. Oh, God, that'd suck. Odd question. When you was 18 and hanging out with old grannies at horse betting pubs... That is a true story. Good knowledge. That's what I did on my 18th. Walked into the room and everyone just turned and looked. Because they were all betting pennies on 1970s horse racing. What was your favourite school lesson or least favourite one? Well, I wasn't at school when I was 18. So... I mean, when I turned 18, I was at college and I was doing drama, theatre studies and dance, A-levels. And then after that, I went to university. And I was a bit stupid because the flipping drama, I did drama and music. Drama was super easy, right? But in all fairness, it was the very start of the course. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure as things went on, it got harder. But I just found myself bored, to be honest. And music, oh, God, I was an idiot. What you need to know about me is when I was young is I was a flipping idiot, right? I didn't know what I wanted to be, what I was going to do. And all my friends went off to, different universities. And I was literally left going, I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm meant to do. Like, school was over, college was over. I don't know what to do. And so I was like, well, I'll go to university then, I suppose. So I went to university and I did drama and I did music. Drama made sense because I'd done it at A-level. Music made no sense because I'd never studied it. And for some reason I thought, well, I'll just do that. I mean, it made no sense whatsoever for me to do that. And it was really hard. And I just ended up leaving. So, I very quickly went into getting a job and worked in retail. And it was brilliant, actually. And I had an amazing 15 years. And it was amazing. And absolutely don't regret that whatsoever. But that's why I always say, if you're young... you've got to figure out what you want to do with your life, because I would say it's my... I don't really think regret, but I think if I was to regret something, it would be that I did not figure out what I wanted to be when I was older, when I was at school. Because I never worked towards anything. I never worked towards like, oh, I need this grade, or I need to pass this course, or I need to do this so that I can go to college or whatever. I literally just drifted from school to college to university to then leaving really like, about a month in, 2 to 4 weeks into university. I was like, nah, this is not for me. So if you are young, make sure that you know what you want to do when you're older, because it is a bit of a nightmare if you don't know what you want to be. Roman comes crashing down on Seth. I think you need to. I think you're good to miss Money in the Bank. I don't think you need to hurry back to watch Bianca, Carmella, or Bobby and Theory. Lauren said that was the ad button. Yeah. It got an ad when you did that thing. I didn't get an ad. That's the ad button. There was a button, it says, but I don't know what it is. There's a little button, and it says, press this to insert ads. But it didn't say if it was going to do it, like, after the stream had finished, or live during the stream, or whatever. I mean, I've never seen that before. And I stream all the time. And I've never pressed that button before. So I had no idea what it was going to do. So that's interesting. I'm also not going to watch Money in the Bank. So I usually watch it on Watch Wrestling, because too many lags and pauses, I will watch the uploads. Alex said, still not a clue what I want to do. Delayed getting a job because of pandemic and still haven't had the nerve to search. I hate people and I can't talk in real life. You got to do it, dude. You got to do it. You've got to. The only way that you can overcome that is by doing it. And you'd be amazed how many people have those anxieties. You are absolutely not alone in that. But I know it's easier said than done, than just by saying like, "Oh, just do it," kind of thing. But you've got to. You just have to. The longer you put it off, like it's nothing gets easier. It doesn't get easier. Nothing's getting easier. All that's happening is that you're, if anything, it might be making it worse. So yeah, you've got to get on to searching and finding a job and getting going with something. Kicks coming in by Seth, as Seth gets thrown into the corner. I'm working doing pot washing 25 hours, says Delwyn. That's good. Get what work you can, get what jobs you can. I mean, in the UK at the moment, I think there's quite a few jobs out there, actually. I know in the hotel sector that my dad works in, he was saying that there's so many jobs. I think it's something to do with Brexit and whatnot. Like, there's loads of jobs. Too many jobs, really. Things aren't getting done. So, it's everyone crying out for workers. So, if you are looking for work, now is meant to be a decent time. Seth is down at the moment. Dark Angel said, sorry I'm late. I got caught up in a Pirates of the Caribbean marathon. Wow. Here's the truth. I never figured out what I wanted to do. I changed majors multiple times and ended up with a bachelor's degree in biology, but I work in retail at the moment, says Dizzledog. In all fairness, though, dude, you've got a bachelor's degree, which is great because it gives you options always. You know, it's like, I don't have that. So, I mean, I've got A-levels and I've got GCSEs, but I don't have any degree. So, that's a bit of a problem. Like, for me, if I wanted to go into a certain field, you know, I'd have to go back to college to get A-levels in maths and English and something to then go into a degree. And do you know what I mean? Like, geez. So if the fact you've got that means that you've always got an option. And that's why they say, you know, education. But it does, what it does allow you to have is options. It will always be there for you. It's a bit like passing your driving test. It's kind of like you don't need to drive all the time and be having a car and all that kind of stuff. But once you've passed and you've got it, you've always got it. So it's always there. And that's a bit like a degree, really. You might not be using it right now, but it's always there for you. And it'll always help you out and open doors. So, listen, no problems with working in retail. I did it for 15 years and I absolutely loved it. So, just do what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? But it's always good to have options. Roman has got Seth and he's looking for like a razor's edge type move here. He's got Seth up in the air. And, into a sit-down powerbomb. That was sick, man. He had him in a razor's edge. And then he, like, threw him and boom, into a sit-down powerbomb. I was doing a minimum wage job at a warehouse and moving parcels. Did it for income, but it was mentally and physically exhausting. Everyone just looks like zombies and the environment was miserable. Well, I mean, look, minimum wage job, just get out of it. Because, as I said, my understanding, and I can't say that I've confirmed this, but my understanding is that there is work out there at the moment. And I wouldn't be getting out of a job until you've got another job to go into, but never stay in a job that you're not happy with. There's always going to be options. Even if you're in work that you enjoy, I mean, it's always worth just seeing what else is out there. Never have to go for anything, but it's always worth just having a look. Seeing what's available. Never know when you might need options. It's all about options, really. But yeah, I wouldn't be sticking in a job that I didn't enjoy. I'm a big believer in enjoying what you do. Big believer. I mean, I went into retail and I loved it. I mean, I genuinely loved it. I had the time of my life. I met great people. I had great experiences. I had great nights out. I loved the job. I loved it. I just loved it. It was not a chore. And I don't feel like when I woke up in them 15 years, I didn't even feel like I was going to work, to be honest. Didn't even feel like I was going to work. It was brilliant. So I would not be going to play. I understand people have to do things they don't like, and I'm sure, like in America or where elsewhere, it might be tricky. You know, jobs might be not as plentiful. But listen, you just look for options. That's what it comes down to. Just work with what you've got. See what options are out there. Knowing what I want to do in life is still something I've not figured out. I feel like I should know by now. Well, I mean, look, without this turning into like a massive therapy session, which I've no problem with it doing, because it's important, don't put the pressure on yourself, because it's hard to know what you want to do. But I think the worst thing is, if you don't know what you want to do, don't do what I did. And that's not know what you want to be, but also don't try and figure it out. I drifted. I just drifted. I just didn't focus. It was too hard. So I didn't bother trying to figure it out. And that, I mean, like, how does that make any sense? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what I want to be, but I'm also going to do nothing to try and figure that out. I mean, it's one of my biggest regrets. Is that. Exactly that. So, you know, I was at school, didn't know what I wanted to be, so I ended up going to college because my mate went there. Went to college, enjoyed it, but then everyone went to different unis and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I had to, for one of the first times, make a decision on my own, and I messed it up. So then I made another decision which actually worked out well, to go into retail. But yeah, I mean, at no point did I really sit down and give it the serious thought that it should have had about what I needed to do. And I just drifted from one thing to another. So I would say it's fine for you to not know what you want to be. I would say it's probably not fine if you're in that situation, to then also not give it the thought that it needs, or research it, or look into it, or, you know, at least try. Frog splash by Seth. Shoulder up by Roman. I quit college as I wasn't ready for college, but I'm now going back to college. Just curious, if you was a WWE wrestler and creatively suppressed, not happy anymore, what would you do if Vince isn't letting you go? Well, he hasn't got a choice, has he? I mean, you've got a contract. I mean, you will be creatively suppressed for, a maximum of 3 years. And even then, you must have only just signed your contract. So, I don't have any sympathy for the Sasha situation at all. Because my understanding is she was quite close to the end of her deal anyway. But, listen, if you sign a contract with WWE, we all know the situation. The situation is that you don't get a say in how you're booked. I mean, you never have. No one ever has. You can have a say, but there is no guarantee it gets listened to. And at the end of the day, you are an actor, basically. You are a trained actor that is given a script, like an actual script. And at what point in what realm was it ever said that you would get to choose? I mean, Jesus, everyone would choose to be the champion, wouldn't they? This is what we said before. Everyone would choose to be the champion. Now, she's done this for a long time, and I don't understand why this came as a surprise to her. I really don't. I don't understand. I can only put it down to the fact that she was taking a lot on the chin, and, you know, this was just, you know, the day that it all... this was the straw that broke the camel's back type thing, you know? This was the day that she could tolerate no more. But I think the fact that she got herself into that mindset and got herself worked up into that kind of a state, you could make the argument that talent relations let her down. But you could also make the argument that she shouldn't have got herself into that kind of mentality. Because, you know, listen, she signed the deal. She signed the contract. She knows when she signs the contract that it's Vince that will always have the final say. She'd been unhappy before, but for some reason she thought this was now going to be different. And listen, if you get yourself into that situation, you just gotta get your head down, get through it. Just get through your contract. No one can make you sign a renewal. Do you know what I mean? So once this deal's done, that's it. Thanks. Bye. Done. So, if I was creatively suppressed, what would I do? I would speak to talent relations about it. If I wasn't getting anywhere, I would get through it. I would keep trying and fighting and trying to find a way through and coming up with ideas. I mean, I think I'm quite a creative person, so I would constantly be providing ideas. And if I wasn't being listened to and I was getting frustrated, maybe there'd come a time where I'd think I'm not going to give any more ideas because they're just not listening to me. But I think that communication is really important. I think I'd still be working with talent relations and letting them know, and I'd be talking to Vince. And if none of that was working and I was starting to upset people and they were starting to upset me, then maybe I'd just kind of, keep myself to myself and just get through my contract. Because by the time I've gone through that process, I can't have long left. Lovely. He doesn't do that anymore, Seth. He just did a big superplex into Falcon Arrow. Bang. Holds onto it. Stands up. It's beautiful. Haven't seen him do that in a long time. He's kind of moved away from that in his moveset. I wonder if that's like since he turned heel. It's been a long time since I've seen him do it, actually. How long have we... Oh, is it frozen again? Yeah, we're down to about 10 minutes, you know. About 10 minutes left, that's all. Jeez. Strike's coming in. So what happens when you get a bit distracted talking about other things. Uppercut by Roman. Kick to the midsection by Seth. Goes for another kick. Roll up by Roman. One. Oh, powers up. Ah, single arm sit down powerbomb by Roman there. Kick out by Seth. Go said, I know what I want to do. I want to be a YouTube streamer called Wrestling Night. You and I will start a feud that will be settled at Money in the Bank with Linda as special guest referee. Nice. Sounds good. Sounds like a dream. No one signs up to be disrespected. No one signs up to be disrespected, but it's hard to know what disrespect is. So, for me, Sasha was unprofessional because she walked away from the job, and she's got a contract, and that contract is her word that she's going to do that job. Now, anything beyond that is, to be honest, extra noise. So, you know, really, she should turn up. What do you want me to do? What's the script? Okay. And goes and does it. Okay. So that is the agreement, basically. I'm going to give you millions of pounds. And what I need you to do for me is I need you to turn up. And when I give you the script, you go out there and you do it. Okay. Now, anything beyond that is noise, is, you know, a bit of an issue, bit of a problem, okay? Now, this is the real world. There's going to be things that she doesn't like, which she's going to want to push back on, and I totally understand that, and it is absolutely right that if that is the case, there is dialogue, but this is where we start to get into grey areas, because how much pushback has there been, and how often has it been, and it's a highly pressured environment as well, because I said before that as much as you can say about Sasha being disrespected, what about, like, the people that have written those scripts, that have got it in on a deadline and got it approved by Vince, and are now being told they've got to change it because one of the talents doesn't like what they're being asked to do? So, you know, imagine I wrote the scripts. I've got to write it, rewrite it. I'm working with other writers. You finally get an end product. You get it to Vince. It's constantly getting changed. You finally get it to a point where it's all agreed upon. And then all of a sudden it's being knocked back because, like, one of the talents doesn't like what they're being asked to do. I mean, I kind of feel like you're going to be frustrated as well. I mean, you're working as a machine. You're working as one. And you're trying to help out each other. So, you know, this is where, like, people only look at it from, like, say, Sasha's point of view, when it's bigger than that. It's a machine. Everyone, she is a cog in a machine, and I've got no problem with her, like, airing her frustrations. But at the end of the day, if the decision is made that we're still going to run with the script, well, that's the decision, isn't it? That's the decision. And I can kind of understand people that have been upset with her and have been upset with Naomi because they've spent their time creating this and now they're on the verge of having to change it because someone's not happy with it. Well, guess what? I'm not happy that I've got to rewrite it. You might not be happy with what's in it. I'm not happy that I've got to rewrite it. There's plenty of unhappy people. So I can understand there being friction, and I can understand there being words that are exchanged. And to be honest, I mean, from what I heard, she got called unprofessional. And I don't really know of, like, any of the other details. We don't know kind of what else has come out. I mean, it's all that one side, isn't that one Twitter account where apparently there was producers that were shouting, which I can understand. And I think she was called unprofessional by Vince, which, to be honest, I can understand. But because apparently the first time she went in, the meeting went quite well, but whatever happened with the fallout or something, I don't know. I mean, without the details, it's hard to know. It's hard to know. But for me, it all comes back to the fact that she was asked to do something. She didn't want to do it. And at that point, we're starting to stray away from the agreement. The agreement is, I'll pay you millions. You perform the script I give you. That is the agreement. That's the agreement. I'll give you millions. You perform the script I give you. Now, once the further that we're getting away from that, the more it's causing problems for other people. The more that you're going to have that kind of toxic backstage environment. And I don't know, this just isn't a world where we can be making changes and everyone's going to be like, oh, Sasha, yes, that's no problem. Oh, what, you want me to rewrite this for you? Oh, God, yeah, I've got loads of free time. Of course I can do that. Of course, oh, yes, no problem. In fact, actually, would you like me to check with you first before I write? What I could do is check with Vince and then check with you after, just to make sure that you're happy with absolutely everything. And then I'll do that for, like, all the other wrestlers as well. Like, go around and check with Vince, and I'll check with Sasha, and then I better check with Becky, and then I better check with Charlotte, and then I better check with Roman, and then I better check with Jesus. What world is this? I mean, realistically, we have to make... Do you know what I mean? You have to just perform the script you're given. That's the job. That's why you get paid the big bucks, man. That's why you get paid the big bucks. My sympathy with Sasha is pretty much close to zero. I think she's absolutely right to have her say. Absolutely right to have her say. Absolutely right that if there's stuff in there she doesn't feel comfortable doing, doesn't want to do, she's absolutely right. But if the answer comes back, no, this is what I need from you, that's it. I mean, that is it. That's it. That's what you've signed up for. That's what you get paid a lot of money to do. That's it. That's what everyone else is doing. That's the job. And then, like, you know, the details of when was she called unprofessional and when were people shouting and all of that kind of stuff. Don't know when all of that played out because we've only got one tweet to base it on. We've got Seth has won and Dean Ambrose's music has hit. Here's Ambrose. Ambrose has jumped into the ring with the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's smashed it in the face of Seth Rollins. And he says that he's going to cash it in. Hands it over to the referee. We've got to cash in. Lillian Garcia has been told he's cashing it in. Seth is on his hands and knees. He's back up. He's been smashed in the face with the briefcase. He's caught by Dean. Dirty deeds. 1, 2, 3. And this show, I can tell you now, this show is famous for the fact that all 3 members of the Shield held the WWE Championship on the same show. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So the show starts with Roman being champion, coming out as champion. Roman's got the belt. He loses the belt in the main event to Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins becomes the champion. And then only holds it for like a few moments because then Dean Ambrose cashes in, having won Money in the Bank. And Dean Ambrose closes the show by being WWE champion. So we went from Roman to Seth to Dean Ambrose all on the same show. That's pretty cool, isn't it? That's pretty cool. All 3 members of the Shield went on to become WWE champion, and they all experienced holding the belt and being champion on the same show. So how exciting as well. I mean, like, that is like something that's really good about Money in the Bank is, I mean, we're talking about, could Liv like win Money in the Bank? You know, could she stand a chance? Will it be Becky? You know, will they cash it in this year, next year? Legit, Liv Morgan could be one of the women's chat. I don't know if Bianca's defending at. I can't remember if Bianca's defending. I know that Ronda is against Natalia. Is Bianca defending? I can't remember. Oh, Carmella? Yeah. There's a chance that Liv could win at Money in the Bank and cash it in same night. There's a chance that when we do our Raw watch-along, Liv Morgan could be one of the women's champions. Raquel Rodriguez could be. Lacey Evans could be. Cashing in on the same show is pretty exciting. It's a bit bittersweet, actually, because I think when someone wins Money in the Bank, that's a big moment, and you can start to talk about, when might they cash it in? Who might they cash it in on? There's a lot of things you can, dissect and talk about. If they then cash it in on the same show, you've kind of had all of that answered, and then it also means that for the next, 12 months, you're not going to have a cash-in. I mean, don't forget here, back in 2016, there wasn't a women's Money in the Bank, so that was it. That was it. There was no teasing of cashing in for that year or anything like that. That was it. That was it. So it's kind of a bit bittersweet because you've got this great, amazing moment where, oh my God, Dean Ambrose is the champion. Didn't expect that. But you've had it. It's kind of like having your cake and eating it. You've had everything in the one show, and there's no teasing of cashing ins or anything, which are great when they do those moments. Rhea Ripley might not be out too long, and if Liv wins Money in the Bank, she could cash in and get her revenge on Rhea. There's a story there with Bianca in the mix. Dark Angel said Sami Zayn will be Mr. Money in the Bank in 2022. Austin said, I just want the winner of the women's match to hold the briefcase longer than 24 hours this year, because Carmella is literally the only one who's held it longer than a day. Ricky says he agrees with Austin. Burn It Down said, I hope you continue these streams. I've liked watching this. There's no plans to, if I'm going to be honest. This was just a real kind of exception because I obviously am not hosting the Money in the Bank one. And I just wanted to kind of hang out, do something on this Thursday that's, on this channel as well, so that if there was anyone that still couldn't find this channel ready for Saturday, then hopefully they might have found it by now. We obviously did Forbidden Door. We did an episode of The Web. We've now done a retro watch-along. Can't really do much more. The predictions are on this channel as well, so can't really do much more to kind of point people in this direction. I mean, obviously on Saturday, I'll have a link on the Wrestling Days channel to this watch-along as well. I've had people even saying, are you going to be annoyed if, the Money in the Bank stream gets more views than the UFC stream? It's no, I'll be over the moon. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference to me. I just love the fact that we've found a way of covering both. So I know it's going to be a bit different, what with us not doing the watch along for Money in the Bank, but I am super intrigued to see how Tommy does it and see what it's like. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Really interesting. I wish I'm genuinely truthful when I say I wish I could watch the Tommy one. I mean, I'm a massive Tommy fan, hence why I do the Wrestling Escape pod with him. I've said before, his style and his humor and his channel was what I was watching in 2015 and played a big part in influencing kind of what, the Wrestling Days channel, kind of the direction the Days channel would go in. I think what Tommy allowed me, and Grim as well, Grim's Toy Show, allowed me to understand, and what kind of showed me was that if you look at how I am at the start of my channel, I'm very high. This is Wrestling Days. Please take me seriously. I've been watching wrestling a long time, and I really do know what I'm talking about. And please listen, because I think I've got some good points. And I'm really serious, and I really want people to understand that I'm serious, and But I think when I was watching Tommy, when I was watching Grimm, they showed that it's all right for you to let your personality through, and it's all right for you to not present yourself in that way, but still be, respected and listened to and whatever. Not that anyone respects me, but those kind of lessons I think I got from Grimm and I got from Tommy, and I got that because I was enjoying watching their channels anyway. So the fact Tommy's doing a watch along for Money in the Bank, super exciting. As a fan of Tommy's, I wish I could watch it, but do you know what? There is, I would say, easily a greater chance that I will sit down and watch Tommy's watch along of Money in the Bank than I will Money in the Bank. Because I think Money in the Bank, I will be told what has happened and what I need to watch. And there's a chance I just watch highlights, jump in and go, okay, let's watch this. Yeah, that is good. Or, ooh, that's a bad botch. Or whatever, right? But sitting down and having Tommy's watch along on, I could totally see me sitting down and just watching that. I mean, it'll just be on in the background as I'm doing graphics or whatever, but I could totally see me doing that. So yeah, I'm gel. What do you score Money in the Bank 2016? I actually think this was a pretty fun show. I'll tell you what I think. I think it's a little bit long. I think that at 3 hours 20, you could probably shave half an hour off it. I think that it didn't need... I think the actual Money in the Bank match is good. I think AJ John Cena is really good. I think that Seth Roman gets 3.75 from Dave Meltzer and was good. I mean, it was fine. It was, did a job. And I like the cash-in as well at the end. And I love that all three members of the Shield had held the title on the same show. I just think that's such a fun, fact. Ambrose winning, I think, was great. The first match I thought was quite fun as well. And I thought that Big Cass looked really good in this. He looked better than I remember, actually. So, James said Triple T will probably be silent, just not knowing what's going on. Well, listen, if that does happen, then I would imagine that he will be in the chat. I know that I remember Triple T saying to me when we first started doing the podcast, he said to me that he always wanted to do a podcast or watch-alongs or something like that, but he was always kind of struggling with the kind of interaction side. Not that he struggles to interact with people, but I think there'd been some, not problems, but I think he just had a few bad experiences where, you know what it's like when people jump in and, they're being negative or they're just trolling or, do you know what I mean? Oh God, you've seen them. You've seen them. I mean, we've got really good, mods that jump in and, we've got a really good core community anyway that just ain't going to tolerate for that nonsense. So I kind of feel like a lot of that nonsense just gets dealt with, or people could come in and be a bit of a douche, but, they'll get spoken to and they'll go, oh, okay, yeah, cool, sorry. And they'll, either come on board or they'll go bother someone else. So, I kind of feel like we're at a point where been there, done it, got the T-shirt. And if anything does get through, I feel quite confident in that I can deal with it anyway. So I'm really comfortable on all that stuff. I feel really relaxed about it. But I think if you're new and you ain't been doing it long and you maybe haven't built that community, or you've got a community, but it's not really like a live watch-along community, and no one really knows it. You got to remember, if you've got a channel where people watch videos, that doesn't mean that the people that watch the videos know the other people that are watching those videos. It's not like what we've got, where, you know, I mean, God, all of you are pretty much celebrities. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're jumping onto Wrestling Escape Pod, sending in videos, you're constantly in the same chats, it's the same community, it's the same people, it's the same names, everyone knows everyone, and it's got that kind of, you know, really great vibe. There's a lot of people that don't get that if they haven't been doing live streams, even if they do have, you know, good sized channels. And I think Tommy maybe just experienced a little bit of that, where you know, it was kind of like a load of individuals, and then there was a bit of bother, and I don't actually know like any specifics. He's never really gone into it, but I know that he did do some live streams, and he was just saying like that he just didn't really enjoy them, and so yeah, I think this is something that secretly he's probably looking forward to doing, because this is something that I think he's probably wanted to do before, but never had like a community to do it, and he never stuck with it long enough to get that community. And so now that we've been doing the Wrestling Escape Pods, I've got the opportunity to do it, and I don't know, man. I genuinely don't know how it's going to go. I can't sit here and say, oh, he's going to smash it, it's going to be amazing. I think he will, because I think he's amazing anyway, and, you know, he makes me laugh, and I just think he's naturally funny, and I think he's quick-witted, and yeah, I just think he'll be fun. I just think he'll, you know, he's always looking to have a laugh. He's always looking to be fun, and I think he'll bring that. But I'm really intrigued by it. I don't know what to expect. And then, you know, you tried to talk to him about it, and he's, you know, I was trying to talk to him on the Wrestling Escape Pod. He's eating flipping chocolate chip mint sorbet or whatever. And it's like, are you going to actually watch it? I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. Okay. And you're going to talk about it? Yeah, I'll talk about it. Are you going to be eating sorbet? Yeah, I'll probably eat some sorbet. Okay, right, yeah. I don't know what to expect, but I think that adds to the intrigue. I think it adds to the intrigue. Austin said it'll be a lot of fun. Will Triple T know the wrestlers, or will he call Theory like Cena or something? I cannot answer that question. I mean, I feel like he will. I feel like he will know. He'll know the vast majority. There might be some people that he doesn't, in all fairness. I don't know. There would only be people that have come in more recently. I think he knows who Theory is, and, you know, I mean, like, he's been watching, like, highlights and whatever. And he's got a good, like, wrestling knowledge in the sense of he used to have a channel dedicated to, like, figures and, like, talking about wrestling and everything. So I know that he's been to wrestling, like, WWE shows. So it's not like, it wouldn't be like me trying to flipping do a watch along for Beyond Wrestling where I only know LMK, or do you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, we've got Mr. Smiley now. I don't know. I can't tell you what to expect because I don't know what to expect. The only thing that I can say is I feel quite confident that it's going to be a happening. It'll be fun. I think for the core community, it'll be fun. And I think you guys will have fun anyway. I've got no concerns that it's going to be boring or dull or anything like that. I think it will be fun. And as I said, you know, we're going to look to do figure giveaways as well as a sweetener. But I don't know what to expect. Genuinely, people could come on and go and tell me that Tommy's gone to sleep or something, or I have no idea what to expect. But I'm excited by it. I hope it works, and I hope Tommy has a good time, and I hope people watching have a great time, and I hope it all works. That's what I hope. I hope it all works. Because, hopefully he'll do SummerSlam as well. I haven't told him yet. But I think SummerSlam collides with UFC as well, so I'm really hoping it works. Because I might need him to do another one, so... that's how the heist of the century will go down. I'm going to jump out at Triple T to wake him up if he falls asleep. Oh, dude, I don't know what to expect. We're used to that with Dave's pay-per-view streams of him falling asleep. Yeah, but the thing is, Dave did it, like, accidentally, where he was, like, nodding off, yeah? When I say Tommy's gone to bed, I mean he's, like, literally gone, right, guys, I'm just gonna have a few hours. What I'll do is I'll leave, like, the camera on just in case you do hear, like, the odd little thing. Because I've got the sound turned up a little bit, but I'm just going to be over there. Like, legit, I ain't got a clue what to expect from him. I haven't got a clue. There's every chance he spends an hour just eating sorbet on camera and not saying anything. And then goes, it's strawberry. I don't know. I don't know. I'm confident that it's going to be an event. I'm confident it's going to provide talking points. But I can't say that I'm expecting. I don't know what I'm expecting. I can't tell you what I'm expecting because I don't know what I'm expecting. But I think I am expecting it to be deemed a success. I am hoping for that. So. Triple T will be random, that's all I know, said Austin. He should just record himself asleep on the stream. Well, it's funny you should say that. Didn't he say on the Wrestling Escape Pod that he was going to, or potentially if he needed to go to the bathroom, he would have an image of him just kind of like being like this, looking like he's listening or looking like he's watching, so that when he goes to the bathroom, like, you won't even notice that he's gone. Part of me would wonder how long he's going to try and get away with that during the stream. He might never turn up. He might just be a still image of him doing this. And then, like, he might have a little video recording, an audio recording of him going, oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, yeah, that's good. And he might just have that on a loop to see how long, like, he can get away with it. And he might go to the cinema to watch another cringe movie or something. Do you know what I mean? Some kind of 1970s horror film that never actually got released. And he'll go to the cinema whilst you lot just wait for him to say something on the stream when it's never going to say anything. Instead, he's just left a still image. Triple T will have a cardboard cutout of him. Sleep streams are actually very popular, aren't they? Mashtube said, what's happening with the different streams? So, on this channel, Triple T, who has never done a stream before, like, not a watch-along anyway. I know he did, as I said, used to do streams on his channel, but he never did many. And, as I said, I think that lack of community and maybe like the odds kind of bit of negativity or whatever kind of was enough for him to go, yeah, I'm not really feeling this. So, yeah, he's going to be doing it. He's doing Money in the Bank over on this channel. I'm doing UFC 276 over on the Wrestling Days channel. And to be perfectly truthful, if Tommy watched UFC, I wouldn't have minded which one I did. Like, I'm really excited for UFC, really excited, but equally, I'm genuine when I say that I'm really looking forward to Money in the Bank. I mean, like, when I say I'm looking forward to it, I'm looking forward to finding out who's won, looking forward to what's happened. I think there's loads of potential. I think, like, really, you could go. I mean, if Sammy wins Money in the Bank, I'll be over the moon for him. I'll be really pleased. If Seth wins it, I think there's so many talking points that'll come out of it. I mean, if Seth wins it, it'll be like, okay, cool. I think I know what they're doing. But it'll still be, whoever wins, it's going to be such a big talking point. Because, oh God, if Liv wins, then I'm just going to have to prepare myself for months and months and months of, do you think Liv is going to cash in now? Do you think Liv's going to cash in now? Do you think Liv's going to cash in now? If someone like Raquel Rodriguez gets it, I don't think people will care as much. Or if Sammy gets it, I don't think people will care as much. But I think any of those that have got, like, big followings, like an Alexa, like a Liv, maybe a Riddle, I mean, it's just going to be potentially month after month, stream after stream of, do you think this is the night they cash in? Do you think this is the night they cash in? Do you think this is the night they cash in? I might have to start with every stream with just like, hi, welcome to Wrestling Days live stream. This is the WWE Raw stream. And no, I do not expect any cash-ins on today's show. With that out the way, let's move on to what we've got to and I might have to start every stream like that. No, I do not expect them to cash in on this show. But nah, I mean, look, joking aside, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing which direction they go in. And yeah, if Tommy was like, nah, man, I'm down for watching UFC. I'll do UFC. You do Money in the Bank. I'd be like, okay. And then I'd do that. It's not like I'm hell bent on UFC, and it's like I've got to do UFC and I can't miss it or anything like that. I'm a bit like, oh man, I'm a bit gutted that I'm not watching Money in the Bank. 'Cause it's a fun one, innit? It's a fun one. I mean, something like stupid WrestleMania Backlash or Hell in a Cell or TLC, I mean, I'll miss them till the cows come home, I don't care. But something like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, I feel like those are the ones that you want to watch, Those are the ones that you want to watch. Sonny is back. Guys, Sonny is back. So this feels like absolutely the right time for us to wrap this up because Sonny is back. And that means I've got no desire to stick around. Right, you lots fired in your thoughts. 50% of you said this was 7 to 775. 25% of you said 8 to 10. 6 to 675 was 18%. 575 or below said 5%. I think that the tag match was good. I think Money in the Bank was good. I think AJ Cena was good. I think the main event was good. I think we got a cash in as well. I got no problems going into the sevens on this one. No probs. So I'll probably settle with a 7. I was thinking 7, maybe 725, that kind of ballpark. But for now, I'll just settle with a 7. I'll settle with a 7. Feels about fair. I think that's about fair. And that's it. Appreciate the support. So, yes, I know we just spoke about it, but again, let's be crystal clear. On this channel, Money in the Bank, don't know what to expect. Wish I could watch it. Wish I could watch Tommy's Watch Along. It's going to be fun. There will be figure giveaways. I don't know what the figures are because I haven't bought them. But I might actually, I'm hoping to just quickly pop to the shops tomorrow. I won't get a chance to do a toy hunt or anything, but I mean, we have literally just done one of those, so there won't be any new figures or anything. But I might be able to get some picked up, so I might have an idea tomorrow, but I don't know yet. And I will be doing UFC. It'd be great if people could, if you're watching Money in the Bank, stop by at some point. What I would say is, I don't know how it works, but I've got a feeling UFC will probably be going on after Money in the Bank. So if you do watch Money in the Bank, enjoy it. Swing by the UFC stream after. I mean, we're going to be around for the main events of Adesanya against Cannonier, Volkanovski Holloway. It's got every potential to be match of the year, fight of the year. Those two have had absolute bangers, and this is the third time they're facing. And yeah, I'm really pumped for that. In fact, the whole card is really, really strong. It's really strong. I think the third fight, there's 12 fights, and the third fight is 2 ranked fighters. How mental is that? Normally, you have to go through a load of like UFC debuts, but on this like card, you've got like some really good early fights. I don't think there's any UFC debuts on this card. I think they're all like fighters that are established. And by the time you get to the third fight, you're still on the early prelims. It's 2 ranked fighters going up against each other. And it's just, every fight after that is just great. It's just a really solid card. And then you get to the 2 big title fights as well. So, no Misha Tate fight, though. The Tate fight has been pulled, which is a shame. Definitely going to miss out on that. But really good card. So, yeah, if you are watching Money in the Bank, swing by before, swing by after. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to UFC. And I think that's everything, man. I think that's everything. Every fight from the early prelims, and main card do look amazing, says J14. I'm going to make my UFC debut whilst watching Triple T. Amazing. Right, awesome. Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate people stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this watch along and just having a chat. I mean, I know that maybe at times you weren't like as focused on this show as we were chatting about various different things, but to be honest, I ain't looking to have this be that pressured or be that, I ain't worrying about that. This was just a nice little bonus on a Thursday night, and I hope people enjoyed it and we had a good chat, and yeah. Enjoy the rest of your evenings wherever you are, and obviously a massive weekend awaits. So appreciate the support, have fun, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.